I make a lot of fashion content.
I thought this character was empowered sexually, and by the time I got Johnny's feedback on it, I had been convinced that actually I was just being used. That I was just being used. It was clear that that was all I had to offer, and I was too foolish to see it. And I'm just going to stop you right there because I'd like you to take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 188A. Is that in front of you? Do you recognize this portion of the text chain between you and Mr. Depp? Yes, I do. Okay, this is on September 2013. Yes, it is. Okay. And are these statements Mr. Depp made to you during that evening that you just described to the jury? Yes. Your Honor, remove the admission of Defendant 188A. Any objection? No objection. 188A in evidence as redacted. Do I have the redaction or is this something you need to give me? We're going to need to give to you a copy. All right. Thank you. And if I can draw your attention to it, he first says, give you an issue here, right? Just $25 for leaving your cell. See that? Yes. And then he says, you know, what I wanted to do was to go with us. And yet you have gauntlet before me. And you know, these very spaces that you have us tracking you to a very tempting test. What's behind that door? Almost impossible to believe and not take it home. You want me to roll the dice? This sounds more like an aggravated ultimatum than softballs that can help us be coached to a better don't test it, please. Did he tell you that? Yes, he did. Do you understand that to me? It was clear. It was a threat.
I mean, to that extent. And one day he didn't come home.
Speculation. I think she can say what she understood it to be.
Carried Johnny like a baby into the house. And I looked at that, and I mean, his boots were hanging over the security guard's arm, who had to negotiate getting through the doorway, carrying Johnny like this. And I watched this, his assistants and the other security guards shaking their head, just shaking their head, acknowledging this is how bad it is. And I remember thinking, this has got to be it. Like, this has got to change. This is it. And he was understandably very, very sick for at least 2 days, is my recollection. And in that 2 days, I had a lot of conversations with this team. I won't say what they were.
Shirley.
But I
Clueless?
felt at that juncture very encouraged that everybody and myself were on the same page. And I felt encouraged that we were in a new chapter, that
Good
Johnny
morning,
had
guys.
finally
My brain.
hit rock bottom, and finally he felt like changing for good. And I felt buoyed, supported by these conversations I was having with people that he was close to, that he trusted.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
November 2013, did you have any contact with Lily Rose that led to any discussions with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
What, if any, communications did you have with Lily Rose in November 2013?
Objection calls your
What do you mean you
hearsay
didn't
leading.
think I'd be up? Because
I'm asking what her
told
connection
you
was. I
guys
didn't
that
ask
I'm
what
gonna
she
be
said.
up,
Sustain
and
the
if
objection.
You guys
Okay,
are up, and I'm not up. I'm gonna feel like I let
November
you down.
2013,
Imagine
what, if any,
you woke up and
interaction
I'm not
did you
here.
have with Lily Rose without
said that I
saying
would be
anything
here.
she said?
That would be
Objection
so
hearsay.
rude.
It's interaction, Your Honor. I'm not asking for what she said.
If you can lay a foundation out.
Okay. Did there come a time in November 2013 that you saw Lily Rose?
Yes, they came to stay with us for some time in the winter. Yeah, around November, I believe, 2013.
When you said they, who are you referring to?
Johnny's kids, Jack and Lily
Okay,
Rose.
guys.
All right. And
I'm
was
a
there a
little
particular
confused
incident that led to
Why they keep saying hearsay
disagreement with
today.
Mr. Depp?
on things that they didn't
Objection
seem to
leading.
before? You know?
Sustained.
What, if any, interaction did you have with Lily Rose that led to an argument with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
That, what, if any?
Is my
you
mic
approach
better now? Oh yeah, the music. Whoopsie. Yeah, I'll keep.
Did you have an
Good morning,
argument
good
with
morning,
Mr.
good morning.
Depp relating to Lily Rose in November 2013?
Yes.
Can you please describe that?
Well, I was, these kids were,
Thank you for the gifted sub.
I found them to be these beautiful, wildly intelligent little weirdos in the best way. They were, I was falling in love with them.
I made
And
an observation
they
that I find
were
very
in my
accurate.
life at that
That's how you
time, a
guys
short amount of
about in
time,
a
but I loved it, and I started to feel very protective, and Johnny's sobriety meant that he was there and then he wasn't, and the nature of our lives with the travel and work meant he was there and then he wasn't.
But I don't want to
And
say
Lily
it while
Rose
she's
at some
talking.
point had a crush on a
Objection, hearsay, and lack of foundation.
Okay.
I'll overrule for them.
Thank you. Please continue.
This argument happened because Johnny was. I
mic is
didn't
quiet
agree
again?
that this
don't
gentleman,
understand.
it was a famous musician over the age of 18, spent the night at the house, and I felt protective over Lily Rose and concerned.
Aww.
And naturally, they were not my children. It's not my place, and I understand that. I know it's a sensitive subject, so I understand why Johnny got so upset with me. But that and the introduction of the weed with
The
his daughter, she was
introduction
so
of the
young, I
weed.
just felt protective. Again, it's not my place. I
I don't
understand that.
disagree with her. I
And
just think the way it's worded is
I made
funny.
him really angry by
The
weighing in
weed.
on that.
Okay. Did there come a time that there was a family engagement gathering?
Well, we celebrated Thanksgiving out in London. The kids were there. There was a stint of sobriety following how sick he got on set with Paul Bettany
I need to eat
after
a little bit. I'm sorry.
one of his drug binges, and he kind of just came alive again. He even played a prank on me about having relapsed when he hadn't relapsed. It was. I started to kind of feel that with the kids being around. I did think that maybe this was it. We were on a good path, meaning to sobriety, that this was it. And our life was peaceful for a minute. It went back to being wonderful. There were these moments that just felt so wonderful.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
I'm going to say my observation right now. This whole morning, I noticed she talks like the girl from Twilight. Where she's like, and I, and I just think about it. Let that live in your brain for a minute and listen. Yes, Kristen Stewart.
Sustain the objection.
Okay. Take us to the engagement. There was a
Just think
engagement
about
party,
it, bro.
correct?
Then, yes, come Christmas of 2013, Johnny had rented this
Having a little
beautiful
baby
mansion in Malibu on the beach. It was gorgeous. And he brought my family out, and his family was out, obviously in LA, and we stayed in this rented mansion, and we're all together for the holidays. And one evening we were going to his mother's house. His mother, who you've heard about, was older and sick, but at home being cared for. And one evening we're going to have dinner, Christmas dinner there with her around the time of her birthday as well. And my best friend said, "You should."
Objection,
really...
hearsay.
Sorry.
Wasn't out for to prove the truth of the matter, but go ahead. Go past that. What did you do?
We went to Betty Sue's house, his mother's house, and Johnny proposed in front of our families in this big,
That's actually really
surprise.
cute.
He surprised me, got down on one knee, and
Like proposing privately and publicly?
I cried and hugged my mother and hugged his mother.
That was a good objection,
and
I think.
he gave me this enormous diamond ring, and it was a nice time.
Johnny, okay.
I'm going to take you into January, February 2014. You employed a woman named Kate James, is that correct?
Objection leading.
What, if any, relationship did you have with Kate James?
She was my assistant at the time. I hired her sometime in 2012 and had as minimal contact with her as I possibly could. So,
And
Oh
why,
my
and
God.
why was that?
Is this the PA that talked shit about her?
she was difficult, troubled,
assistant that talked
and
shit.
inconsistent. She drank on the job and stuff like that, and
That was very
her
funny.
behavior was pretty
Objection relevance.
horrible.
She's already testified. Kate James has testified, and I think the bias, we can,
All right, I'll allow that. Go ahead.
thank you. Okay. Please describe for the jury
These
what
eggs are mid.
job responsibilities Kate had and how you communicated with her and kind of how that worked.
Objection compound.
Overruled.
Thank you.
We had minimal
It's on the objections
person-to-person
today.
interaction
Last time
because
they didn't
I was
object to,
hardly
like,
ever
anything.
in LA.
So I'm
If I was there for a
surprised.
few days at a time. And Johnny and I kind of lived in this insular bubble anyway when we were together.
Giga Chad.
But we would send emails, texts, and a lot of voice memos, voice notes. And,
I want to hear him.
I found that if I said, Kate, you left the car running with your doors open and your kids in the car on the street. You need to
Objection
move it.
hearsay.
She's not testifying, she's testifying about context.
Sustained objection. Next question.
All right.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to ask you to take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 209.
Your Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay grounds.
Throw out the whole trial on hearsay.
It's still hearsay. May we
Ms. Hurd,
approach?
did you, may I lay the foundation first? Ms. Hurd, did you communicate with Kate James by email in the ordinary course of your business?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to take a look at Defendant's
Ooh,
209.
yeah. I
Is
wanna see a
this
weird email.
communication that
So I'm not gonna lie, the
was,
assistant's
between you and Kate James that was in the ordinary course of business
testimony was really
with her as
funny.
an employee?
Yes, it is.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit
And it made
209,
me want to like her.
business records exception.
Still hearsay, Your Honor.
Business record exception gets the business record, but
Anybody
it's
want any
hearsay.
fruit?
If there's hearsay involved inside the business record, there's still objection to hearsay.
Your Honor, the business records exception, I mean, I
It's cantaloupe.
don't agree. I think that's the point
If you
that
wanna-
hearsay
if you wanna
can.
approach.
This mid cantaloupe. You know, cantaloupe should be sweet. This is half sweet. Yum, 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 yum. Well, that was a delicious breakfast. I'll finish sipping my matcha and then I'll be a real human being. Let me post on Instagram. Damn, the silence is deafening. Do you guys hear the static or is it just me? I've run out of things to do on an Instagram story. Like, I'm about to set down my phone and do a fucking backflip. Because, like, how many times can I do this? This. Like, you know, I've run out of things. I really should do a backflip. I can't do a backflip, but I can do a cartwheel. And that's kind of like a slow front flip. Think about it. Radio. Oi, do this. I should have done this. You're right. Bro. I got a little bit of honey on my hand and it's so sticky.
What, if any, communications did you have with Kate James about your issues with Mr. Depp?
Oh.
Objection, hearsay.
Is there?
Ms. James has testified.
Which you
I sustain the objection.
All right, well, we can take that down, Michelle. In the February, I'm going to jump to February, March 2016. What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Depp about a prenup?
Well, after the engagement, but before the engagement party,
God, this makes me
I
feel so
started
good.
I started to feel like it would make, you know, I know that he earned significantly more than me. He's a successful actor. I wanted to eliminate any doubt in his mind and in other people's minds. So I brought it up to him and brought it up to my therapist.
Objection, hearsay.
She's just saying that she brought it up to her therapist. She's not saying what she said. But please
I'm not
focus
gonna
on
lie,
Mr.
the
Depp,
lawyer's
okay?
being a little annoying.
Johnny said he
They're
would tear it
objecting
up.
before something might even come,
if
which
I-
is at like
he
any
said-
fucking moment.
If you ever brought one up to me, or if I ever saw one, got my hands on it, I'd tear it up. Only way out of this is death. Only way out of this is death.
What are they referring to?
And I thought it would like.
What? Oh, the
I didn't
prenup.
care either way, but I did feel that it would eliminate suspicion or doubt, and it would make things easier. And I told him over and over again, you know, are you sure? Are you sure? Maybe we should do this. And he
Actually, that's interesting.
One time he said to me, he's like, kid, are you already thinking of how you're getting out of this? Are you already planning to get out of this, kid?
Damn.
You already planning on leaving?
I really don't like when people
That was
are...
the same. It was around the same time
I don't
as
know,
the
view prenups
moving
that
in
way.
together conversation.
Especially
It was
for the one that makes
he
less
accused me
money.
of having 1 foot out,
Just get the prenup.
and they kind of were happening around the same time. You know, I still
And then
had my apartment, and
Just stay together.
we're engaged now.
What do you guys think? Prenups, good, bad? Because when someone's like, oh, so you're already thinking about how you're going to get out of this? It's like, you can have a prenup and then stay together forever. If you think that we will stay together forever, a prenup should not impact whether we stay together forever, because me and you are the same human beings. If you really believe in this relationship, the prenup prior to the relationship ain't going to make a difference, is it? Outlogicked, Pokimane 1, people that don't want prenups, 0.
He was asking me to redecorate.
And if people do change, well, then at least you have an out.
To the ECB building downtown where my best friend was living at this time. While the decorations and the remodeling had been done on Sweetser. And so these conversations were kind of happening about how to build our future together and how we were going to move forward together. And I would have forgotten about the extent that we had those conversations early on in the engagement if it hadn't have been for my therapist notes.
I'm sorry, if it hadn't been for your what?
If it hadn't been for my therapist's notes, which were
Okay.
taken at the time when I was talking to her about this and my conversations with
Objection,
Johnny.
hearsay.
Okay.
I'll
We'll mo-
sustain the
We'll move
objection.
on. Okay. Let's take it to March
drawing something for
2014.
you
Did there
guys.
come a time there was an
Because I'm
engagement
very
party?
good at drawing.
Yes, so it was March 2014.
Please describe for the jury.
We had an engagement
You're gonna
party,
love it. I'm very
and
good at
we decided that when we did get married, we'd have a small wedding, something intimate. But, our lives were kind of big. His life was extremely big. And we needed to incorporate, we wanted to have a bigger engagement party than a wedding, and kind of get our guests in, our family, our friends, and have a big event of it, as opposed to making the wedding something that was big and,
Diet
so we kind of
James
put it on the
tipped
engagement
$2.
party and had
If you need the treat of losing money to keep a
a
relationship
bunch of people,
together,
a lot of
that's a
friends,
pretty bad
business
relationship.
acquaintances,
If you need the
a lot of
treat of
family. I had
losing
all of my
money to keep
family
it-
friends
True?
and my childhood friends
True?
come out for it.
True.
And I even invited
True
my
facts.
therapist. It was, a big event.
Okay.
Very true.
And describe what took place at the engagement party.
We walk in together and we took some pictures and said a few hellos, and then Johnny disappeared upstairs in, I guess it's like a coat room or
Don't-
something. It was in a big abandoned building.
Guys,
that
I think
was
I've made a masterpiece.
rented out for events. And he had disappeared upstairs almost the entire party, I would say. It was kind of
I find this
came down
man's
at the
face
end
so
when
fascinating.
we were leaving,
I was like,
and
I
came down
need to
once
draw it.
because he was at the time
I
sharing
need to
drugs with
draw
my
it.
dad.
Objection,
Perfection. Thank you, sweetie.
speculation, lack of
Thank you.
foundation.
How do you
there.
know that he was sharing drugs with your
His
dad?
face is
I was there.
so fascinating.
I watched it.
Is that Ember?
Please continue.
My dad at the time was.
Hold on. Let me
the
turn it
same-
into Amber Heard. It doesn't take much.
Was addicted to the same thing Johnny was.
There we go.
And so my dad had either my dad ran out or Johnny ran out. I can't recall which of the two
Ooh, I
ran
should have
out,
saved
but
that
there
and
was
sold it
a-
as an NFT. Ugh.
they needed
Where's
more,
my
of
ruthless
course,
businesswoman
and,
essence?
had to leave the party. My dad actually left with Johnny's security to go get more drugs from
Objection
West
calls for
Hollywood.
speculation.
He's
How do you know
sitting on a
that?
table.
They
or
told
on a
me.
box.
Hearsay.
Sustain the objection.
Okay.
And they left to go whatever, and then they came back with drugs, and everything was okay in terms of the withdrawal symptom, or the, I don't know what you call it at that point, but he still stayed upstairs. And
Are you
when
referring to Mr. Depp?
yes, I am.
Okay. Please
So
continue.
shortly after that, I tried to get Johnny to come downstairs, and he just snapped at me, just verbally told me to shut the fuck up. And
Shut the fuck up. Sorry. She said, snapped at me verbally. And it's like, did you think we meant this? I have not slept enough.
I remember talking to my mom about the irony of it.
Okay.
We were at an engagement party, but that was pretty much it for the engagement party. I went downstairs and
He said
the
that
guests smiled
poem
and
was fire.
Took pictures and put on a face and went about my evening.
All right. We take you to May 2014, the Met Gala. Could you please tell the jury what a Met Gala is and what's involved in that?
Objection compound.
Met Gala is a big event, annual event,
Bro, the
celebrity
law-
event
his
in New York.
lawyers-
It's a fashion event, but it's just a major red carpet event.
They on their shit today.
And you have to be invited, and it's kind of a thing. And we were invited that year, and I'd already gone for the previous year or two, and this year we were going to go together. And at some point in the evening, we're sitting across the table, and Johnny starts asking me about this woman. He thought I was looking at this woman in a sexual way, and I kind of turned it around on him and said that it's
Objection
actually
hearsay.
All right. It's context, Your Honor. This is context.
Sustain the objection.
Okay. Just say what Mr. Depp said then. I guess you can't tell us what you said to him.
Okay. He was accusing me of flirting, and that's how the argument started. I don't recall what other accusations I was fielding at that moment, but typically in my experience with him, it wasn't just one. So he'd make a point, and then he would go on
What
to a different
is-
accusation. But I remember that what started it is this accusation that I had been flirting at this event. We get back to the hotel room, and Johnny shoves me and kind of grabs me by the collarbone area, like not really my neck, but top of my neck, above my collarbone, below my neck. I think at that point when we were still in the living room, I shoved him back. But I don't really recall too many specifics. I remember he threw a bottle at me. It missed me, but it broke the chandelier. And at some point, I remember maybe this was the shove that I was talking about, but at some point...
I swear when you go to X and you go back to
at
normal
some point,
speed, it's
I remember
actually slower.
maybe this
I'll keep
was
it at normal speed. It's just because I paused.
the shove
I talked
that I
about
was
snapping.
talking about. But at some point, Johnny and I are in a struggle in the living room, and he kind of like shoves me down on the sofa, and I get up, and I'm trying to get him off of me, and it's just stronger than me. I don't know how else to describe it. And at some point, he just whacks me in the face. And I had not, at the time, been, I think that was the first time I was like, is this a broken nose? At the time, I was unsure what that feeling was, but I suspected I had a broken nose.
Doctor
And
visit. Doctor
other
visit.
than that, I was relatively unscathed.
Doctor visit. Doctor
But
visit.
I remember my nose being swollen, discolored, red.
Photo. Doctor visit.
And I took a
There's
picture
no
of my
fucking way
face
you have a nose
at
as
some
cute
point
as
and made
this,
a joke about it to my friend.
and you
about
don't take
how
a
bad I
photo
looked
when it
compared to
implodes.
how the red
Objection,
carpet-
hearsay.
It was not for to prove the truth of the matter,
Yes,
sir.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Just don't say what you told
I
a
don't
friend, okay?
like. It's almost like I don't want to not believe her, but like, please
Let's
give us
take
something
you to
or anything.
the Adderall Diaries. When did you start filming the Adderall Diaries?
Believe
What is the Adderall
May-
Diaries?
I filmed
Bro,
another
there's
movie.
literally nothing. There was
in
no
New
evidence
York,
to back that up.
March, April, May. I went straight from that movie to another movie, an independent film with James Franco. The one I had previously shot was with Christopher Walken. That's right. Okay, so I went from one to the other.
I just want to
and,
see any evidence
saw
on
Johnny
either side.
in these, in between, like if I got a long weekend or, I'd fly home to be with him and then fly back. It was kind of like that.
Fly back from where? Where were you filming those?
In New York.
Okay. And where was Mr. Depp at that time?
I don't
Johnny
know, like, why
was
would you
in
take
LA
a photo of
at
the
the time, and
smallest
then
scratch on your
eventually
cheek and then your
went
nose
on location
breaks
for
and you
his
don't take a
movie,
photo
Black
of that?
Mass in Boston.
You don't go see a doctor.
So you were in New
don't...
York and Mr. Depp was in Boston at some point? in May?
Eventually, by May 2014. That's it.
All right. And what, if any, discussions or arguments did you have with Mr. Depp relating to James Franco in that time frame of May 2014?
Have you guys seen that clip of them in the elevator together? Dun, dun, dun. It's kind of funny because the captions are always like,
nightmare.
she's cheating. And it's like them getting in an elevator together. I don't not believe it, but also they're just in an elevator.
I wanted to do this independent
No,
film.
what clip?
I
Do you guys want me to pause and show you?
liked the story. I liked the character. I, told him I'm not going to wear makeup in the thing. but-
Objection, hearsay.
It's so split.
Apparently,
Ms. Barrow, if you could approach, please.
I almost typed in elevator. So she gets into an elevator at the penthouse places that Johnny is paying for. She gets out, she gets James. They get in the elevator together, and then they stand very closely together. I know that's like cuddling. He puts his head on her, and she puts his head on him. And the rest, I'll leave it up to your imagination. The rest, a mystery. Did you guys see that photo on Twitter? That was like, Ludwig and Pokimane are the lawyers for this trial. And it was this girl, I think. I love this suit of hers. This is the girl that they said was me. That was a funny photo. Kick. She's hot, she knew me.
so
I
tell
just
the jury
know
what
at the
Mr.
end of this,
Depp
Johnny's going to
said.
have the most beautiful little masterpiece painting
He was
that he's going to
mad
show
at me
us.
for taking the job with James Franco. He hated James Franco.
Is that why you
and
flunked him?
was already accusing
Just kidding, I have no proof of that.
me of
Well, he put his head on
kinda
his shoulder.
secretly having a thing with him in my past
Before
since we
marriage.
had done Pineapple Express together.
I just know, like, this
So
whole
I'm going
relationship
to take
was-
you to the Boston plane incident. We've heard about that earlier, May 24. Can you please describe for the jury what took place on May 24 relating to the plane incident?
For legal
Well,
reasons, that was a joke, by the way.
I had spoken to Johnny, you know, he's in Boston, I'm in New
I
York,
keep saying that forever.
and I spoke to him. He had already been upset with me and accused me in
I'm about to
a
drop a D's
like,
nuts joke
mini
in Valorant and
arguments
say for
about
legal reasons,
not
that was so true.
telling him about scenes that I had, if I had a kissing scene, any sort of romantic scene,
Well, you know that will
and I
upset
wasn't
him.
explicit about what I was going to do, then I was accused of having withheld information and hiding it from him.
Well, when you know that it's
So-
going to upset him, like, yeah.
I
technically,
didn't want the
yeah.
fight, of course. I didn't want the argument,
it's the
but
same thing.
I had to kind of eggshell
If someone's
tiptoe
like,
around how to tell
I
him
don't want you to do
when
this,
I had any sort of
and then
scene
you're
like
gonna do
that.
it. If you don't tell
And I
them,
did
yeah, you're kind of lying
tell him in
and
this
hiding it.
occasion.
Objection, hearsay.
We need to stay with what Mr. Depp said, okay?
Okay, so he was upset with me, but he didn't sound coherent so much on the phone. He was yelling at me about how could you tell me this? How could you tell me this when I'm filming, when I have this scene that I'm doing? How could you tell me this when I'm working?
Fragile
Obviously,
ego.
I couldn't
But
tell him any other
that's not
time
against the
because we were
law.
both filming, and I told him as soon as it was relevant. And
You know.
but he kept saying, "How could you tell me this? How could you just tell me this?" And it was like I had told him I was having an affair or something. You know, he was that angry at me. But he kind of started to sound less connected to reality as these like arguments would happen on the
curious if
phone.
he
This
was
is in one day.
Also not taking kissing
He
scenes
hangs
as
up
well.
on me in the conversation, screaming at me. I talked to his assistants. I won't say what they said, but I had conversations and felt encouraged that I could continue on with the plan, which was for me to get on the plane, go to Boston,
The plane?
pick him up, and we would go back to LA for his daughter's birthday.
Or was she acting this whole relationship?
I was nervous because the conversation I had had with him, and he was so upset with me on that conversation, but I figured I assumed he had passed out and that he would have been kind of sobered up the next day, assuming that the work would mean that he felt pressured to kind of pull
I
it
have
together.
another observation.
And I get on the plane. He sent the plane, so I assumed he's not that mad at me. He's over it. We're moving on.
I should have
He's
said it
sobered
like
up.
this.
There had
Oh,
been
damn,
a lot of
never
talk
mind.
about a sober plan, like
The plan. It sounds like she's had a plan this whole relationship. Was she acting during the whole relationship?
a full detox, a full recovery, a doctor, a whole plan. You know, there were talks of that following what had happened in London. So I was feeling like, okay, well, maybe we're here. And I get on the plane. It touches down and the SUV pulls up and it sits on the tarmac for a very long time.
But I've been
He knows I'm on the
pausing
plane
too
waiting for
much.
him. So I kind of started to anticipate that things weren't as I hoped, meaning that he was sober and had slept it off. And I'm sitting on the plane for a very long time waiting for him, and he finally opens the door, and I see him get out of the SUV, and I can guess by how he's moving, how he's walking. I didn't realize at the time I had already become really sensitive to these little changes because my life changed depending on what he was on. And he gets on the plane, and I just knew in every cell of my body something was wrong. And he comes straight up to me, doesn't say anything to me, but is looking at me. He's got these glasses on, and he takes them off in this kind of
93%
aggressive
hold.
manner and sits down across from me, not in the usual spot.
I do feel an alt coming
We
on
kind
too.
of have our places on his plane, you know, where you get used to sitting. And I remember I got up and moved to accommodate him getting by so he could sit in the normal seat as per usual. He didn't. He sat across from me. At some point, and I don't really remember the exact sequence of it, we take off, and at some point he's asking me what's wrong with me. What do I have? Do I have something to tell him? Do I have something to tell him? You want to talk to me about your day yesterday? And then it gets,
Thanks for the
I
blessings.
already know that he's drunk. I already know he's using, he reeks of weed and alcohol. I mean, his breath smelled so bad, and I could.
Hey, yo! You ain't gotta slander him like that, bro.
I could anticipate
would just
that there
have a
was a
little
no-win
fight, no
situation
shit.
here. There was no
Little
me
puff, puff,
talking
puffs.
myself out of
A
this or
little
talking
sip,
him
sip.
down or any,
Chug, chug.
you know, a lot of my
Did he
arguments
laugh?
and my involvement in them are me trying to diffuse by explaining or
He was like,
Objection,
yeah, I do
non-responsive.
smell like weed.
She's telling the story. Your Honor,
I'll sustain an objection as part. Go ahead.
So he is asking me questions, and I know to not engage. I was polite. I made sure to answer minimal amount of, you know,
Oh my God, she sounds like she's
the
talking to
minimal
his
amount
boss,
that I
to her
could.
boss.
I moved slowly. I was trying to be polite, but not engage because there was no win. And he kept going,
Literally
kept
boss
asking
shit.
me. Eventually, he went from, do you have something to tell me, to, you want to tell me how much you liked it. Tell me, did he slip a tongue? It got worse and worse, just more. It went from asking me about how my kissing scene went or how the sex scene went to asking me what James Franco had done in the scene to being really explicit about my body. You know, he was talking about he was saying really disgusting things about my body, about how I liked it, how I responded, and then he started just straight up taunting me. I know you liked it. He called me a go-getter.
What you getting?
He called me a
Girl, what
slut
you going to get?
in front, and also this is happening with security and his assistants on the plane, and I remember I felt I struggle to be able to tell you how embarrassed I was because he was speaking to me in front of people in this way, asking me if I liked it and if I was wet, and you know why I wasn't looking at him, and that was proof I wasn't looking at him. That was proof that I was asking for it. Did I ask James to do this and this to me?
anyone
And
verify?
how about if he does those things to me? Insert sexually explicit descriptions of what he
Tell us.
accused me
I
of
want to know.
wanting or deserving. And
I'm
at some
not
point
gonna
in
lie.
this, get up and move to the front of the plane. And I
Awkward
remember
to
getting
hear
up
this,
so slowly.
knowing she did.
I didn't want to aggravate him.
You know?
I didn't want to give him any excuse to pounce on. I
The
didn't
alt
want to
isn't here
upset
yet,
him.
guys. It's
I
coming
didn't
up, I
want
think,
him
though.
to flip a switch and get
like there's a
worse. I didn't
culmination.
want. I just remember very slow movements, and I slowly get up and move to the front of the plane, and he starts
Oh, it's coming.
throwing things at me. Ice cubes, utensils. He's calling me
don't wanna laugh. Don't laugh.
a go-getter, and then an embarrassment, talking about what an embarrassment I am.
God, that sounds like such a grandpa
I don't
thing.
know how many times I moved
Throwing
seats. I
ice
wish I did.
cubes.
I
Oh,
don't.
stop.
I remember moving more than once, and Johnny came
Oh,
to
get it.
me each time, not the other way around. He sits down in front of me at one point, and because I'm not answering him, I was looking out of the window,
I saw two people
and he
at the
slaps
same
my
time
face.
say tears question
Exla
mark.
Bumblebee tips
And
$2. Thank you for inspiring me to stream
friend
smile.
Oh, you're so
Is in our
welcome.
proximity,
Who?
and it didn't hurt my face. It just felt embarrassed. Did you do that to me in front of people?
Okay, there it is.
it was the first time that anything like that had happened in front of somebody.
Stop.
I got up to move again, and he's just taunting me, having a laugh, screaming, and then just straight up mean, calling me names. And it was oscillating between those things. And I get up slowly again, and I just resolve to just sit the rest of the time up at the front of the plane.
Bro.
And as I get up, he kind of kicks the swivel chair into my hip, kind of just hits
The way
me.
she describes things is so
And I
different
look at
from
him,
literally every
and he asked me, what are you going to do about it?
of others that we had.
I just
But to
stared
be
at
fair,
him.
they are all employees
just
of Johnny.
stared.
So.
At him and wanted him to see me. I wanted to get through to him.
Listen, I know she's low-key, high-key. She's high-key missing evidence. I will take a single tear as a piece of evidence at this point. I just want to see one.
Didn't feel there was like, it felt like
Hand
there was
it
a
over.
blackness in his eyes. I wanted to look at him. I wanted him to see me. It didn't even feel like him.
If you ain't got the text, give me a tear.
And
Cryptonax tipped $2.
Bruh.
Objection
as I'm
hearsay.
walking away,
Objection
slowly
hearsay.
trying not to be, I was being very deliberate about my movements. Wasn't saying anything. I wasn't engaging. I am walking away from him slowly, and he tells me to hurry the fuck up. Hurry up.
Sorry,
And I just look at him one more time,
not funny. I was laughing
wanting
at
to
something else.
penetrate the monster to see the man that I love underneath that. The man I loved. And he tells me to hurry up again. And I pull my gaze away from him. I walk away from him. My back is turned to him, and I feel this boot in my back. He just kicked me in the back. I fell to the floor. I caught myself on the floor, and I just felt like I was looking at the floor of the plane for felt like a long time. And I thought to myself, I don't know what to do. I can't believe he just kick me? No one said anything. No one did anything. It was like you could
Bro, what
could
if
hear
you
a pin drop
imagined
on
it?
that plane.
No BM.
You could feel the tension, but no one did anything. And I just remember feeling so embarrassed.
Hold it in, Johnny.
I felt
Hold
so
it in.
embarrassed that he could kick me
Hold
to
it
the ground in front of people. And more embarrassing, I didn't know what to do about it. I got up and I walked to the front of the plane. I sat down
Hold it in, bro.
and I just looked out of the window. And Jerry Judge's security and
He held it. He held it.
my friend both kind of under their breath asked me, "Are you okay?"
Objection, hearsay.
I spent the rest of the time looking out of the window.
Sustain the objection.
And
Did there come a time that you tape recorded Mr. Depp on this plane?
Oh. Evidence?
DEPP tipped $2.
I want to sit here
A tear
and
is
say that
coming.
I was
It's almost there. Just one drop.
like,
Surely it's about to happen.
was telling myself I
Is
needed
that
to
a
leave
twinkle
him?
I see? She can't possibly hold
But
it in anymore. Pause, champ,
as he
cry,
got
champ,
worse, he
never mind. She
demanded the
might have
oxygen tank from the
constipation. We got
flight
jebaited.
attendant. Flight attendant,
Good donut.
excuse me.
Is that a twinkle?
And he continued to drink and then eventually started howling like an animal and passed out in the bathroom.
I'm trying to
With
give
the
you
door
guys like a
locked.
reenactment.
And
Ex-Labumble
was
tipped
howling, and I
$2.
at some point
the fake
pushed record
fears
on
to
my
be
phone
sounding
because
like Bella when Edward said he was leaving
there
in
was that
union law.
5% part
Yes.
of me.
Wait.
is-
Objection, non-responsive.
Montreux 98 tipped
I don't think it's
$2.
non-responsive. She's
Objection.
explaining
Some of these are
what
lines
led up
from
to her tape
movies.
recording them and why. I mean, I can ask it, will that solve it? Why did you tape record him?
because I knew that Johnny wouldn't remember what he had done. I knew he would not remember. And if
Calls for speculation.
Huh?
She can say, She can say why she did it and what she thought.
But that last part called for speculation. I'll sustain the
Don't
objection.
say, I knew. Why
I
did you tape
thought.
record?
In my experience, when Johnny was that inebriated,
Inebriated. I love
he would
that
not
word.
remember what he had done.
Calls for speculation.
How can that call for speculation?
I'll sustain the objection.
Not gonna lie, his lawyers are
All right,
popping.
let's go to defendants
And
221.
200 bits, to be fair. Sometimes
And I'm
you'll
gonna
find
play
so much
three different
too
parts
little
for
is
it.
Not sure if you have seen this, but the current
No, no,
lawyer
wait,
Ramsey
wait,
was
please.
caught being a Johnny You're fan. Only left with the trauma, and I really want to give her
so
the benefit
sorry.
of the doubt,
I'm
but
so
this does
sorry.
happen, and it's very real.
I'm so sorry.
Maelstrom Wolf tipped $2. A plane full of people saw him roundhouse kick her in the back of the head. Can we get a witness or two? No? Huh?
It wasn't a plane full of people, to be fair. It was like employees of theirs. To be fair, sometimes I'm crying so much there's really no tears left to cry. I did quote Ari. No tears left to cry. But on a serious note, you're left with the trauma. I really want to give her the benefit of the doubt that this does happen. It's very real. I know. I agree. But I think because there have been so many things that, like, she either didn't really express properly or, like, sort of lied or, like, even the donation stuff I thought was pretty messed up. Just a lot of things that kind of ruin her credibility. And I'm still willing to give it to her because these are really difficult situations. Like, if you are actually physically abused by your partner.
Bumblebee tipped $2.
I just need
Sorry, but we can't get
evidence,
witnesses.
a
That's
tear,
hearsay. You
anything.
can't speak for them. They're not present.
Yep. A plane full of episodes on... Oh, sorry, not this. Objections on this one. What is this? Open. Amber Heard's lawyer is Johnny's fan. I don't fucking know any of these people.
So
I'm
we're going to
confused.
start with 221, and we're going to call it A, and that'll
guys
be
saw it?
0 through 1 minute.
To be fair, I don't even know what he looks like, so... Oh, it's the lady.
Okay, sure.
Oh, the old lady. Oh my god, bro. It is really hard to tell old women apart. Old ladies. Not even just old women. When you say old lady, like you're imagining something specific. You know what I mean? It's not an old woman. It's an old lady. Hey, I mean, they all be high-key cute. You can't as a real be.
Sky Loviston cheered 200 bits. What's salt mean?
What's alt mean? Okay, so it's like ultimate ability of a character. It's like your
The first one was
greatest
0 to 1
strength.
minute. And can you
For
turn up the
her,
volume
it's
just-
when she really
I mean, there's part of it that the noise
emotions
of the
are at
airplane is a
an
little bit
all-time high.
loud, but
She's really just
be able to pick up the
expressing
noise.
herself.
J. Phil tipped $2. Say what
Someone
you
else
want.
explain it.
But the power dynamic established actor like DEPP made with a 23-year-old starting actress is great roles.
Is that a lawnmower?
To see either of them as good people in this trial. Both of these should be known
I agree with this. We can discuss this in a second. I want to hear this. It is not okay.
And then the second one is from 250 to 320, 30 seconds.
Why did we have to listen to that? He said, ooh, woo. Someone said W evidence. Bro, that sounds like someone having a
221
bad
isn't
dream.
evidence. All of 221 is already in evidence.
So may I play the third one then, and then we
Yes.
can take the break?
Yes.
Thank you.
Play-
That would be at
You can play
9.
all of it if you'd like. That's fine, thank
I
you.
think that'll torture the jury if I do that, Your Honor. 9:30 to 10, just 30 seconds more.
Are there words?
No. I'll stay with this fucking lady in case she gets sick. Sick. No. I'll stay with this fucking lady in case she gets sick.
Oh, they're an idiot. Sorry, chat. I'm so sorry. Louder. Are we in a
Anything change
microwave?
gears after that, or do you have more questions for this issue?
No, I think this should be
Basically.
fine
Okay,
for a break.
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our morning break then. Just do not do any outside research and don't discuss the case with anybody.
That's crazy. All right. Break time. How long is a morning break? Oh, fuck. Sorry. I'm in my pajamas. Sorry. I ripped out my headphone cord.
All right, thank you. And again, ma'am, since you're still testifying, don't discuss your testimony with anybody at this point, okay? All right, so let's just come back at, let's make it 11:42. All right, 11:42.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Girl, you need a stylist. What? Are you the first lady? Is that what you call the president's wife? I'm not American. I don't fucking know. Going to church. Girl. It's fucked up because, like, we know you are an attractive woman in her 30s and you don't normally dress like that. So for you to dress so differently is odd. Is that just me? It's like, yeah, you don't have to wear a Met Gala dress, but it's so far from, you know. I know it's court, guys, but it's fugly. Like, you know, it makes me feel for her. That's what she wants! Oh, I fucking get it now. Oh, I get it. Oh. Okay. Oh my God. 1854 called. They want their dress back. That's what I mean. Okay. I couldn't fully see it when she is sitting because this looks kind of normal, right? But then she gets up. Who did that to you? Who missed? The belt especially too far. You should be taking a court for that fucking belt. Is that why you're here? Is that why you're here, bro? Anyways, someone said, say what you will about Amber Heard, but the power dynamic an established actor like Depp made with a 23-year-old starting actress is very gross. I find it hard to see either of them as good people in this trial, both abusive in their own ways. I completely agree. I think a lot of the stuff that he did was very fucked up. The dynamic from the start is messed up. All of this kind of like, possessive. Oh my God. Last stream, I was saying protective, but I meant possessive. All of this like possessive, toxic BS, I still think is bad. But did he hit her? We have yet to find substantial evidence. She was not 23, 25. 27. I don't know. I just remember for a long time people were saying Johnny Depp gets older, but his partners stay the same age. And I was like 12, like, whoa, what does that mean? You know, was that just me? I saw hella shit like that. She was like 22. On God, I do not know. Oh my God, is that Leo? Anyway, so the weather, eh? The weather, eh? You believe her, there's no proof. You believe her, there's no proof. Oh my God, I really thought you like wrote something substantial. You just wrote the same thing over and over. Listen, I didn't even say I believed her. However, some of the things that she details, like him being uncomfortable with kissing scenes and this and that, I could believe. We'll hear if she decides to, or if he decides to refute any of those things. But I think those are things like, I mean, there are, oh, I need to sneeze. It's gone. Anyways, that's something that has happened to me personally. I have seen guys behave that way towards me, and they were in their 20s. So imagining a guy who's like even older, comes from a very different generation, I can imagine them behaving that way. So I don't not believe it. But if he has some way to refute it, you know? What pissed me off the most was like the juiciest shit. Him breaking her nose. Some of the texts that were sent back and forth. Nothing. Nada. No evidence. Well, rien. I don't even know how to say nothing in other languages, but I think 5 is enough. Like, sia bueno. Bien. ¿Cómo estás? Well, nothing. Oh my God. But her lying about the makeup line, that's how I knew she is lying about so much more shit. What is this? What is lying about the makeup line? Yeah, she has this evidence of drugs. None of the texts, though, and no photos of her nose being broken. I think overall it was just an extremely toxic relationship. Agreed, and they were both abusive in their own ways. But with that said, I think Johnny still has more evidence in his favor for this case. I'm still waiting. Oh, yeah. Wait, did she say that she used a specific brand? I saw that TikTok. I think most of us did. I'd love to know what her definition of hitting is, since yesterday she said it didn't hurt when he hit her, and also before in evidence she said, I did not punch you, I was hitting you. No, I think she said I didn't hit you, I slapped you, right? Yeah, I do recall this. I wonder if she got the brand mixed up with something else. But then in that case, like, bitch, don't say the brand. No, she said hit. I didn't punch you, I hit you. Like, what the hell kind of a differentiation is that? Well, I guess like open versus closed fist. Does her friend also not have the photo? Oh, the observation I wanted to point out. Listen up, y'all, because this is it. The beat that I'm banging is delicious. I say that so much. It's just such a banger song. It's ingrained in my brain. Anyways, did you guys notice during certain random parts of her testimony, she will switch from speaking in the past tense to speaking in the present tense? ¿Por qué? Is it because she's actively telling a story when she's speaking in the present tense? Is it because she's trying to add emphasis? And then and he hit me. And I was crying. I don't really know. Surely it does give a very rehearsed feel. But I don't want to right off the bat say rehearsed means for sure false. It is very, very rehearsed though. She sounds like she's writing a pretentious book when she describes the violence, not like she's giving testimony. It's so odd. Actually, you're so right. It very much sounds like a book. This whirlwind romance, and we fell in love. Fuck, bro. I hate to say it. Like, I don't want to judge the way someone speaks, but goddamn isn't not really appealing to listen to. Again, I'm not saying it's inherently, like, false what she's saying. Audiobook very detailed. When I was a kid, I did rehearse a lie to tell my mom. Yeah, that's usually how it works. Ooh, true. I'm gonna try that. Fall asleep. I just hate that a lot of people are holding on to this to defend abused doers like Marilyn Manson. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think regardless of how this trial goes and her mistakes, I think we should still believe victims. I think we should also believe evidence if it comes out. I think you should hear things out generally, but I still think it is a bad thing to do to like hear someone say that they went through something traumatic or was abused and for you to immediately refute that. If there's reason to refute it, you will be given that reason, and then, you could make a differing opinion at that point. But like right off the bat, I think if anything, it's more like etiquette. Sometimes people try to add more details that don't mean as much to improve the story and make it more believable. This is always, okay, you guys know when you do like 2 truths, 1 lie, they always tell you to make a lie believable, add a very, very specific detail. Have you guys heard that before? That's like the trick. The trick. Yo, my chat is going over the wow counter. We still got one. That was a big one. Like that wow counter, that was something. But if you overspecify, it becomes sussy too. True. At the end of the day, nothing beats a good little bit of evidence. Even a tear, bro. 1. Come on. I will mark that down as evidence. I'm trying to be nice here. I'm trying to be considerate. Considerate. If she cries, people say it's fake regardless, though. True, but I think it's worse not to cry at all. It's the lesser of 2 evils. I mean, I saw a couple of you guys question marking, but yeah. I feel like typically when people give... Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is, again, what I've seen in like documentaries, read in books, etc., etc. I feel like sometimes when people give a very genuine retelling of trauma that they've gone through, it isn't abnormal for them to like tear up. Like, I think those are very hard things to talk about. Again, this is not like a 100% type of thing, like not every single person, but I think pretty often. Like it's very common. So for her not to do something that's common, it obviously goes to show like, well, not goes to show, but it's not helping her ultimately. But they don't remember specific details like she is. I think it can depend.
Ed__ cheered 200
She not out of
bits.
mana, but she do
Emo,
be
if
out
she
of
wants
tears.
to make a good case, she needs to bring in the witnesses she describes in her
Yes!
testimony, like the people in the plane
Witnesses,
who saw but didn't
photos,
do anything.
videos. Bro, all she gave us was Johnny Depp going, which, like, am I the only one who listened to that? And I low-key felt bad, like, for him. Not even for her.
Snacker66 tipped $3.89.
I was
the
like,
way
oh my
she
God, it must be
described
so
her relationship to the
embarrassing.
jury yesterday
'Cause,
was
like,
so cringe. Like she was explaining love to people who had never been in love.
I know! I think that kind of pissed me off because it felt a little belittling. Like, you think you're the only person who's ever been in love? You think, like, other people just wouldn't understand the love you guys had because you read books together. Like, bro, we get it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the narcissism does come out a little bit because I don't think she realizes that the way she talks sounds very condescending. I know you guys have never felt love like we have, so like you just wouldn't understand, but he bought me gifts and we bonded over wine. And we went to all these mansions across the world. Like, listen, just because your love resided in a mansion doesn't mean it's not love like us peasants feel at home. We may not have mansions in every country, but we still have strong love. And the island, yeah, the island that he owned. He owned. Peasants copium. You get what I'm saying? To them, I'm still a peasant. Okay, high key, they kept talking about this like penthouse thing. So I was on my Google game. I was researching like a scientist on Google about this penthouse. It's like, oh my God, he has a penthouse in downtown. Turns out he owns like 3, 4, or 5 on the same floor. And I saw an article where he decided to sell one for $12 million. And I saw this article a few days ago. And then I was like, damn, 12 mil mansion? That's crazy. He's got 5 of them shits. He has a $50 million floor in an apartment complex. Do you know how insane that is? That's money I can't think of. I know, right? And it's even weirder.
Wishfulson tipped
And he
$2.
can't do his taxes
Imagine Lily Rose storms into court last minute to testify.
I'd be here for it. I'd be here for it. It was all very odd.
My Kook Nugget tipped $5. Hey Pokimane, sorry I have watched you for a long time through others' channels and seen clips of you. I am late to the Twitch party, but I've seen you grow over the years. It's been a long journey and I'm happy to see where you are at now.
Thank you.
Love Nugget smile.
Someone said he must be broke to sell it. If you own 5 mansions and an island and numerous other things, you're not broke. You just don't have much liquidity. All your money is tied up in assets. So you have to sell it, not because you're broke, but again, because you don't have any liquidity. Meaning you don't have like cash that you can access easily. You have a house. Those are 2 very, very different things. Bro, I should be a lawyer.
Demon Valero 21 cheered 500 bits. I know what her shirt reminds me of. A cloth dinner napkin with the napkin ring. Krutz2 tipped $2. Johnny off the duburk in those audio clips.
It's just a chemise.
Billa tipped $4.20. Did you see this part of her testimony where she quotes a movie verbatim when describing Johnny?
No way. No way. That can't be real. Trying to make sure my DMs don't pop up. Monka. Amber Heard. The thing with Johnny, it's like the sun shines on you and it's glorious, and then he forgets you and it's very, very cold. When you have his attention, you feel like you're the only person in the world. That's why everybody loves him so much. The thing with Dickie, it's like... Wait, did she actually say this?
But I will cut off my hand before I reach for you again.
He said, I'd rather cut my hand off than ever lay it on you or lay it upon you.
Drink tea. There's lots of tea.
But like lots of tea. Like lots of tea.
Where? What happened here?
Whoa, what happened here?
Simon made me feel like the most beautiful woman in the world.
Like when I was around Johnny, I felt like the most beautiful person in the whole world.
I mean, some of these are kind of whatever.
You think it's funny, bitch?
But I will cut off my hand before I reach for you again.
This one I find sus. That one, but the other ones are like common things that are said. I want to see the clip for this, because I don't recall her saying that actually. They're back? Okay. I don't recall her saying this. Can anyone find that? She didn't say it, right? She said it. I don't think she said it. Because think about it. If she said it, you know there'd be a clip of it. She did? Amber Heard. Glorious. Glorious. Sun shines on you. I don't think she said it. Can someone link it?
The Phoenakist tipped $2.34. Sup Pokey, early stream podlubbers. How have you been feeling about having a more consistent stream schedule like a couple months ago? Do you still feel a stagnation in motivation and content? Any content that kind of piqued your interest?
I find this really interesting and fun to watch with you guys. But, and I mean, I always like playing Valorant. Not too much aside from that. Time high.
Wow, but
she's really just
be able to pick up the
expressing
noise.
herself.
Damn,
bitch, that's a lot of static. Oh! No! No! Oh, and the podcast. The podcast, too. The podcast, too. Guys, she did not say that shit word for word. There'd be a clip. There'd be a clip.
Let's go to 205. Defendants 205.
But I do think... Guys, you're saying she did, but, like, show me.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Objection, hearsay.
Also, I think maybe she said something similar. At the end of the day, though, I do think she kind of... How do I say this? She views things like it's an actual movie, and she's the protagonist. And if she has watched other movies, like that's kind of how she views her life. Does that make sense? It's weird. Main character syndrome, but in a bad way. I'm looking through this person's Twitter.
Kruts2 tipped $2.
I'm
Why
not
did
so
they play
angry,
2
though, the
minutes of plain
injustice.
noise with 10 seconds of Johnny moaning as evidence?
Bitch, I don't know. And she said, yeah, he broke my nose, he did this, he did that. And you made us listen to him. I'm not so angry, though the injustice is clear and I did nothing of the kind. But she's spouting off about, man, you were there. I lied to everyone about what happened to my finger out to protect her. She truly is, as you once said, borderline personality. She needed to be angry about something. I left her that night because she got physical and wanted to take a few choice swats at me. She's still fucked up, and as such, as I still love her, I will never allow her to look me in the eyes again. My mom passed away. Amber fucking died.
So 205 with redactions is in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we publish to the jury? Thank you.
It is.
So Rocky on this is Rocky Pennington, your best friend, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And when did you send this communication to Rocky?
Once I had touched down in LA.
Bro, nobody clipped it, though.
And you said, I'm not good. What did you mean by that?
That I needed help. That I was scared. I was scared of what had just happened to me. I was scared of what was going to happen to me.
I swear it didn't happen.
If I left him, I was scared if I didn't. And I needed help. I just needed support. I couldn't, I didn't feel safe going home. I still had my place in Orange. He had keys. It was,
I'm so sorry. I really want to know if she actually said this or if people are just believing it to believe it.
Felt like this man knew me and saw me in a way that no one else had. I felt he understood me. I felt he understood where I came from. I felt that, like, when I was around Johnny, I felt like the most beautiful person in the whole world.
It's not this vid, huh?
You know, you need to see, you need to feel.
$2.
Okay, yeah, my
Mr.
mom just said
Ripley
it's
quote
not this vid.
debunked.
Like,
I was scared.
it's painful for me to see
Did
people
you
believe things with
your mother
zero
and your father
proof
about
when the
this
proof
objection
would
hearsay?
be easy to find.
What, if any, communication did you have with your mother or your father following this incident?
Objection hearsay.
Let's go to defendants 222, and I suspect we're going to be back up.
Right, you want to first? That's fine. Thank you.
I'll be back. Tell me if I miss anything. Oh my gosh, she put the glasses on! What did I miss? She looks like Quaker Oats' wife. Wife.
What, if any, communications did you have with Kate James following the Boston
That's a
plane
stop LMAO
incident?
from
Objection
me.
hearsay.
Your Honor, if we go to 224.
That's a fucking stop LMAO from me,
My
dude.
argument would be business records exception.
All right, you want to come forward? We can do it.
Now, what in the absolute world is... It's not a I can't, it's a we can't. Oh my God, there's so many of them. I am overwhelmed. Truly. Oh God, looking at this is so overwhelming. We can't LMAO, stop. guacamole. What is that, dude? What is that? You were looking for the clip of Amber saying she didn't. Oh, no. We're looking for a clip. Okay, hold on. Ooh, someone said it was debunked. Once again, just confirming that the talented Mr. Ripley reference has been debunked. It seems to have originated from this particular comment, I think from YouTube or Instagram. Testimony was reviewed by myself and many others. She didn't say it. So someone said that the thing about Johnny is it's like the sun shines on you and it's glorious, and then he forgets you and it's very, very cold. Which is a quote from like a movie or something, but she never said it. So they were basically saying that she quoted a movie during her testimony, but she didn't. So they were trying to make her out to seem crazy, but she never even said it. Shut up.
So what, if anything, did you do the evening of the 24th of May?
We can't.
Reached out to friends and family, asked for support.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
Pasta.
I surrounded myself with them.
Or emote, I guess. Farm 'em.
What, if anything, did you do for Lily Rose's birthday?
That's why we had gone back to LA. Johnny was sick.
I don't know why it's like hypnotizing that there's so many of them.
After having passed out on the plane. So I took her to dinner.
Can't stop, my laptop's burning up. Okay, sorry.
We
I gotta
went to
listen. What's a Benihana's again? I always forget.
It was, again, put on my smile, took her out, tried to
It's a restaurant.
make her feel loved.
What's a
and
hibachi?
Celebrated for her birthday, and then I booked a flight out to New York, to go back to New York, obviously without Johnny.
I'm going to ask you
Japanese
to
grill.
now turn to 225.
Live cooking. Ooh. Me like
And
it.
Your Honor, I'm going to be referring to the last two blue spots on that page with the state of mind. Mental condition.
All right.
It doesn't, it's still hearsay, Your Honor. May we approach?
Yeah, you want to approach? I just want-
All right, some of you guys are clearly new. Talking about alt counter, question mark. Okay. Can someone in chat explain
Guts
the
2
alt
tipped
counter? I'm tired of
$2.
doing
Just
it.
think it's interesting that her therapist said she wouldn't
you guys
remember
even say
specific
it more
abuse
than me.
instances cause of so much trauma, but she seems to be pretty specific about them in her testimony.
Aww. Alt equals fake crying and trying to gain sympathy. I kind of, yes, but other things too. Other things too. Kind of, yes, but I also can't assume it's acting. So what do I call it, you know?
I'm going to ask you to turn now to 228.
We can't.
Your Honor, we're going to object
Stop
on hearsay.
spamming that.
First line, Your Honor,
Okay.
is all I'm,
Oh my God,
I
can't
understand Your
breathe.
Honor's ruling, but I think
It's painful to look at because it makes it. We can't.
All right.
Like, look at it, bro. How can you not stop elevating? We can't. I literally stop. Arrête. Because it's getting to that kind of laughter that hurts. stop it! Stop! No LMAO! Ah! Stop it! I'm closing chat. And the next time I open it, you guys better be behaving, because this is starting to hurt. Humph? I can't. LMAO. By the way, I have a hair appointment at noon. So, bitch, I gotta go at like 11:30. Do not let me stream past 11, maybe even 15. I gotta check how far away it is. Okay, I'm checking. I don't even need to actually check. I just need to open this, and it already shows me. It's all little fucking yellow. We can't. Stop. Stop. Are you guys saying we can't stop? That's good. That's good. That's good. I don't know if you're just spamming it for fun. I'm saying we can't. That's good. That's good. What style did you end up choosing? Bish, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go in and be like baldness. How about some bald? Anyone feeling a little bald?
So, tell us please tell the jury what you did then over that night, the next day.
They didn't ask. Oh!
And
just kidding.
at the hotel.
Bitch. If I see any more little
cried,
yellow balls.
A lot. Tried to surround myself with my friends and resolved to leave him. I felt powerless. Nothing I did made a difference. You know, on the plane, I was so careful.
Objection. Non-responsive.
ULT equals using her professional skills to
Please just
deliver
tell
her
us what
side
you
of the
did,
story
and
to
you can
persuade the
tell how
jury
you
that she's
feel,
the
but
victim in this
don't go
situation.
backwards,
Now
okay?
stop. Plaza
I
length.
resolved,
We can't stop!
tried to
Dude,
the strength to commit to leaving him. I knew I had
so
to.
much like...
I knew nothing else would make a difference. So I got myself back to LA. Excuse me, New York. And started going to Al-Anon meetings every day. It's a support group for people who love addicts and alcoholics.
Oh. I
What
thought
if
she
any
meant like
communications did you have with Stephen
fetishize them or
Duders?
something.
Objection,
I think she means,
hearsay.
like people that are with...
Your Honor,
That are
what
like...
if- let
Anyway.
me ask it this way. What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Duders
Why did she
communicating
word
on
it like
behalf
that?
of Mr. Depp?
Objection, hearsay.
I would say agency on that, Your Honor.
You have to lay a foundation for that.
Okay. All right, let's go to 229A.
I felt... And then, like, okay, I get it. Netflix released all the Twilight movies. Doesn't
Without
mean you
saying
have
what
to
the
binge
content
watch
is,
them
can
all
you tell
before
us
this trial.
who this text message is with?
I'm so sorry. For
Johnny's
legal purposes,
assistant.
that was a joke.
What's his name?
For
His name is
legal
Stephen
purposes, that was
Duders.
a joke.
Okay. And what, if any, communication were you
Stop the
having
yellow
with
balls.
him following the Boston plane incident?
Objection, hearsay. May we approach?
All right, Ms. Wentz.
Approach these nuts. Just kidding. Not the ukulele. Sad. Angry. This fucking editing. I'm sad. I cannot.
My voice, my I smell. Doesn't he?
Don't.
Hello? I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to introduce myself last week. I'm Edward Cullen. You're Bella?
Yes.
Oh, I just want to try one thing.
Guys,
Stay
don't
very
worry. I
still.
still have this in the back, so I'll hear when it's back.
How long have you been 17?
A while. It's not you.
I want to
you, it's me, right?
I want to hear her talk. What? Like that.
Any cold, wet thing, I don't really...
It's kind of like that.
You follow me?
I feel
You know?
very protective of you. I think 18 is a little young stuff.
Okay, listen. I know people can like go back and poo-poo on Twilight, but it's still fun to watch. And that you gotta give them credit for. They're still fun movies to watch. Nah. Everybody that says hell
It's
no,
Alex Hernandez cheered 200.
I'm about to end your careers. Listen, if they're not still fun to watch, why did you watch them recently? Ain't nobody holding the gun to your head. And if you didn't, like, how can you say that they're not still fun to watch without watching them recently? We didn't. You didn't, so then you can't say that they're still not fun to watch. Checkmate, atheists. Fucking checkmate. Got him. We can't. We can't. This is so, the we can't actually makes me feel like I have an audience, you know? And they're all laughing, bro. Oh my god, it's gonna hurt my neck laughing at that. Stop it. Ban that. Like, I love it, but I cannot look at it too long because I will start recanting. I literally
Did
hit
you
chat.
communicate at all with Mr. Depp in the days following the Boston plane incident?
Yes, I did.
Please tell the jury about those communications.
I
Still see you
heard
guys
from him,
recanting.
directly.
Don't make me
I
do
also
it.
heard from him through his assistants who were texting for him.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
You're not allowed to testify about the text messages with his assistant, but can you tell the jury about your communications with Mr. Depp?
Okay. It's kind of confusing because he was texting through them.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. I'll strike that from the record, and you'll disregard that
understand.
testimony. Please answer the question.
Just confine it to the communications you had with Mr. Depp, please.
That he was sorry and told me that he was in a blackout. He didn't remember everything, but what he did remember, he was ashamed of.
If you guys are still
He
recanting,
begged me to forgive him.
I'm
Said he
banning
understood
everyone. Thank you.
and forgave me if I never wanted to speak to him again.
I can't breathe.
He texted me at one point and then I didn't respond right away, and he texted me again that he understood that I had made my decision to move on and good luck, and I was better for it, and then continued to contact me. I spoke to him when I was in New York on the phone, and he said that he was he had a chip.
Am I the only one who finds
that
it
he
weird
was
that she's
going to meetings, that he I think
retelling
at the time
this?
mentioned
And the whole time she looks like this.
another celebrity that was kind of advising him
It's kind of a weird
on
expression.
sobriety, or not advising him, but encouraging him. And he was saying, well, look, me and this person, we even went to a meeting. I've got 3 days sober, 4 days sober, and that was the last time. The monster will never come back. Monster will never come back. And because it felt like such a different, it felt so much worse than it had ever been before. And because I had, you know, I went to New York and I was trying to get my strength to leave him, I actually thought that it kind of would be the turning point. I thought I had effectively...
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Bitch said you taking too long.
Thank you. Go ahead. Please continue.
Damn, they are demolishing her.
I thought things would change.
Did you
her flow has been
draft
murdered.
any kind of email to Mr. Depp to express your emotions and how you
They
felt
said,
about
wrap
all
it
this?
up.
Objection, hearsay.
Wrap it
Well,
up
let's
quicker.
go. I'll lay the foundation, Your Honor. Let's go to defendants 239.
239.
Wrap it up, Quaker Oats.
Objection, hearsay, Your Honor.
And I would say both present sense
Oh my god,
impression
every
and
time I
definite
say
state
I
of mind.
can't, it turns into a we can't.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right. So
You are losing it.
did you ultimately
I woke up at
communicate
7. Disgusting shit.
to Mr. Depp what you first drafted up in an email without saying anything about what's in the email?
That calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
Well, couldn't she just show?
I'm just asking if she
draft?
did.
No, what she said.
Correct.
Okay. Overruled.
Did you communicate to Mr. Depp what you had drafted in the email? And you don't get to say what you said.
Yes.
Okay. And what, if any, response did Mr. Depp have to your sending that email to him?
Is it an alt or is it a
I
tear?
came to New York
Cameraman,
to
zoom in.
fight for the relationship, for me, to prove that he was sober and he was committed to changing.
Cameraman, zoom in. Wait, I think, is there one?
I believed he was
But there might be one like here.
embarrassed and sorry. He said he was, and I believed him.
Is that one? Was that one?
So I took him back, or I got back with him on the condition that he would uphold his promise to do the treatment, to do the full detox, clean up, and never go back.
So I'm going to take you now up to the
Ooh.
June
Smirk,
through
smirk,
August
smirk.
2014 timeframe. And I think you testified earlier, and others have as well, that Mr. Depp brought in Dr.
I
Kipper and
don't-
his group.
I don't think there
correct?
was a tear because
Yes,
I feel like it
I
would
did.
leave a mark.
Could you please
On
describe
her
for the
makeup?
jury what those next few months were like?
Them nostrils be drier than the Sahara, my guy. What are you
All of a
sniffling
sudden,
up?
Krutz 2
This
tipped
doctor
$2.
gets
My
brought on.
ultimate is ready.
that had
And also, you could
that
tell
we
because
had been talking about. I'd
when
heard
she brought up the tissue, I was like, oh my God, a tear? But then she put it on her nose. Not here, her nostrils, she, like on the tip of her nose. And she was like, and then she brought it up. Like,
this
bro,
name.
listen, if you're a girl and you're wearing makeup, you know, as soon as you cry, that tear goes down here. You take your tissue, you dab the tear, and you bring it up the wet part. You don't just put that shit on your nose.
Before.
Like, ain't nothing coming
And
out
all
of
a
here,
sudden,
dog.
This doctor,
It's
Dr.
the
Kipper,
nostrils or the eyeballs.
apparently wrote a book on addiction, and was this doctor was going to be the solution.
I'm
the cure,
dead ass
you know,
overanalyzing her tissue use.
And he got
crazy.
brought on board, and all of a sudden, the plan was that his team would be involved in Johnny's recovery. So it felt real, it felt serious. I felt like protected. You know, I'd already by this point heard a million times, it seems like, promises to get clean and sober, but this felt like a change.
Yeah, I don't know why I doubled
and,
an
they
audio.
were going to come to Boston and start working with Johnny, and the plan was to keep Johnny on the same level of drugs that he was on since he was filming. They needed him to finish filming the movie, so he was going to be
same level of
maintained
drugs? What does that
with his,
mean?
with prescription pills, including the painkillers. And the plan was he would obviously abstain from alcohol completely and all other drugs like weed and coke. And then when he finished filming, the plan was to...
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. And lack of foundation.
I don't
And
understand
irrelevant.
what the objection, I don't think
And
it is. I think she was
non-responsive.
just explaining the context
And
there. I don't think she
bad
was saying
tissue
what
usage.
somebody
The
said.
foundation, how she knew.
And look at the quick
How did you
quotes.
know that?
I was involved in the conversations
Okay. Please
with the
continue.
doctors.
Objection, Your
and
Honor, what
with
are those?
his sister.
Objection,
And
Your Honor,
nurse.
that's still hearsay.
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
That part is.
His lawyers are
so,
on one today. And on one hand, I'm like,
what
good for you,
happened
Johnny.
next?
They're doing good. But on the other hand, I'm like, shut up. This is
As a
annoying.
result of these communications,
You're doing a
without
good
saying
job,
what the
but-
communications were.
A nurse
like to
came
listen.
to Boston where Johnny was. I just would come for short periods of time in between, on weekends from filming until I wrapped my movie, which I did, I think in May, if I am not mistaken. And then I went to Boston and I was there and saw a nurse was flown out to Boston, Debbie Lloyd. And
I
believe
can't stop
Kipper came
thinking
out
how much
too,
this reminds me of Twilight.
and they put Johnny on a bunch of new medications, which they shared with me, told me about.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Is it?
But we have to be careful about what other people told you, okay? But you can testify to what you know, okay? So what happened then?
Oh, it's the way she's wording things.
I
Bro,
saw
her
his
lawyers
medications
jinxed
change.
her. Like, shouldn't they tell
I know
her,
the amount
you need to
that
word
Johnny
things
told
in this
them
specific
he
way?
was on,
Or did she just
was
write a fucking
so that
script
they-
and
they could
memorize it the way
maintain
that she
him
did?
for the filming, meaning not make a drastic change in the amount. of
No, I'm
painkillers
saying
he
they
was
should have told her
taking.
beforehand, because otherwise it
But
interrupts her flow, which is really not good for her
His
testimony.
behavior, his whole personality changed drastically.
Like, they're annoying rules, but they are
He
rules that you can work
would
around
be
pretty
speaking to
easily.
me.
Especially for someone who's
And
rehearsing.
at the time I was staying in Boston with him, having wrapped my movie,
guess that's
and
just
he would,
my
in
perspective, though.
mid-sentence, mid-word, fall asleep. One time I was sitting across from him, and he
That's Kevin, bro.
would come in and out of sleep, of being awake, or completely what appeared to be asleep.
See you in court.
while talking to me, and he had a cigarette in his hand, and Johnny constantly smoked, and he just sat the cigarette.
See you in court,
as he
Kevin.
fell asleep while speaking, down on his leg. They're hand rolled cigarettes. They don't stay lit very long, thankfully.
Stay
but
lit?
It was things like that, and I didn't understand it, even though I
guess
had
I should just leave it like
experience
this.
with drug use in my family. I hadn't seen anything like this.
In
and It was so
yourself?
dramatic, the change, that
As well,
I
which isn't bad to
was
say.
trying to figure out with the nurses and doctors what happened, what changed, how we could explain the change and what medications were causing it. I knew there were new medications involved, so I was constantly worried and in communication, and Johnny's behavior got worse and worse.
You don't sound
more,
worried. You sound
of this passing out, nodding off, waking up in the middle of the
Judgmental.
night, screaming, waking up in the middle of the night, sometimes crying, and the emotions would change from one to the next. Like by the second, he would I remember
I
we
can.
were
I
on
can.
a long weekend when he was filming
Objection.
in Boston,
We
and we went
can't.
to this like a resort retreat hotel, and he was just bawling. It broke my heart. There was just a lot of changes, and
Objection,
I really
relevancy?
didn't know. I felt so bad for him, and I thought maybe it was just what Kipper had introduced into the regime, the medications. But what I found out in that time is that he was taking about double the amount.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Was this
No,
your
I
observation?
saw it.
Okay, overruled.
Thank you. Please continue.
It was taking about double the amount that he told them was his normal when he started the process with the doctors. So after a few, it's, I think, months of going, what is wrong? And, turning him over when he vomited at night or checking his pulse.
God, I do look like a little toddler, but also
all of a sudden
like
I just,
mom, but
when
also like an aunt.
I realized the amount was
How
about
do I
double.
look like all those things at once?
I realized then he had been lying to them and me about the amount
I look
so
like
that
the
he
little
could
comfy
get
blanket.
extra high before
Wait, did he
he
laugh?
had a detox.
Laugh or smirk?
But that I can't that I was so, it was such an agonizing weeks, months. It was so agonizing. I don't know how long it lasted, but I was so concerned for this person, and he had just been
This person? You mean your fucking husband?
doubling up his meds because he didn't.
Why is she wording it like that?
So, Michelle, can you pull up 1092, Defendant's Exhibit 1092?
Also, does she realize that her telling us this just makes us feel bad for him?
Amber, did you take this picture of Mr. Depp?
I did.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 1092.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
All right, 1092 in evidence. You can
You're just embarrassing him. You're not proving that he hit you.
Can you describe what's depicted here and
How
why
are you taking a
took this
picture of all this shit and not
This was during
of your
that
own
time
broken
when
nose?
the prescriptions that he was on in the doubling up of the opiates got so bad that he was like this just throughout the day, off and on, and then he would take Adderall and he'd be really animated and ready to go, and then it would be this again, and it was so erratic and so it changed so quickly,
he
and
has or had a drug
naively
problem.
now
Can we
really did
move
not
on?
understand what was going on. I deeply cared about
Dating a drug addict
this
is
human's
awful,
well-being.
that's why. Yeah, but that's not what we're here
And
to expose.
it was very confusing and scary.
So did there come a
Someone
time
said
then
this has
that
the photo.
Mr. Depp went into detox for Roxycontin?
Whoa, is this a better
Roxycodone
stream?
or
Do
whatever
they have
they're
more
called.
deets?
Yes, when he finished
You
filming,
took a
the
photo
plan
of
was
him sleeping.
to do
Congrats.
a
I like his
detox,
little
and that's what we did.
And when
ponytail
was
thing.
that?
That would have been early August
You guys
of
want me to watch the other
2014.
stream?
I believe we left. We were there for, I think, a week to 10 days, 8th through the 18th.
He's got the
More or less.
psycho leaf
And we've heard some
sprout.
testimony about this, but
Let's
can you
survive
please
Paddy
describe
Plays
for the
tip
jury
$5.
what took place
She's
during
using
this
terms like the
detox on the
person,
Bahama
etc. to
Islands,
distance
in
herself
August
from the
2014?
relationship because she can't process the truth of that.
It was
Also,
for the first few
we really,
days.
really can't.
Okay, peaceful. The nurse,
Stop!
and then later nurse and doctor were staying on a different part of the island. A few minutes drive by ATV, like 10, 15 minute, by one of those ATV
It's like
vehicles.
I have to laugh,
But we
I don't
communicated via
want to.
walkie-talkie and occasionally through text. And it was okay at first, and then the behavior, then it just really wasn't okay. It was up, down, he'd be mad at me. Then he was wanting a hug. He cried a lot, and then he wanted to have sex a lot, which is just not like Johnny at all. And it was just like that. It was just up, down, mood, and it was like I felt like a constant.
I'm counting that as a laugh.
Whatever he was
I'm
going through at the
counting
time,
that
I
as
was
a
just trying
fucking
to,
laugh.
adapt and kind of roll with it and provide
He
support.
can't.
I was taking his blood pressure. I
can't.
was on a schedule and
He
constant
said, "Yeah,
communication
I
with the
was
nurses
fucking-"
about delivering the meds, giving him his meds at a certain time. I was just trying to take care of him, and a few days in, I guess the effects of the detox really started to change, and it went from this erratic behavior, up and down, to just really down and
up
mad.
and
He burst
Tracking
into
tipped $2.
anger at me,
Isn't Amber
yelling at me.
also a
I
drug
crossed the
user?
table. I walked away
Yeah,
from
but
it
not
at the
an
table. I
addict.
crossed the table in a certain way, and he screamed at me about that and tried to overturn this table. Luckily, it was bolted down to the deck. But I remember him shaking it and screaming, and at a different point, he was really calm and sweet and thanking me. And then another, he looked like he was balancing out, and we had a conversation.
I
and he
just
was
don't
saying
like
he
this
wanted to
because it
quit,
feels like she's
like
trying
quit
to
the detox.
Zeus
and
tipped
villainize
do
him
it
for
anymore.
We
being
can tell
a
you when
drug
to
addict.
trying
stay
to
upstream.
find the
I
language
think this one is better
to,
cause it has a camera on
encourage
both of
him.
them. NBC
I was
only
trying
Okay,
has
yeah,
a
let me
camera.
remind him
know.
how
Let me
much
know.
he wanted that, how much he had told me he wanted that, how much I was reminding him, he told me all the time I saved his life and he wouldn't be doing this without me. And I was telling him these things, and I was, at one point in our conversations, I told him about how,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
It's Alex Hernandez cheered 200
please
bits.
try to continue
Crying
without what you
face,
said.
crying face, skull, skull, skull.
I said
skull.
something to him, and he got so angry at me, he slapped me across the face, but he did it like while crying. So it was the weirdest thing.
Leo_IX
He's crying,
cheered 300
saying
bits. A
no woman had ever
psychologist said in an interview that
embarrassed
it's
him like
normal
that.
for a
No,
person
no
to use
woman had
past
ever made him
tense
feel
when
like
the
that. I
story
heard
they
that
are
for the
telling
rest of the
actually
trip, too,
happened,
just
but it's very common for people to switch
on
to present.
repeat.
For the
And
things that they're
I
lying about. That's what I thought too.
felt bad. I feel bad. Still feel
Someone
bad.
said, and that's called a
But,
mood swing. It's part of
didn't
being a
wanna make him
Gemini.
feel embarrassed. That's not what I wanted to do.
That's an
It just was in over my head. I don't know how to detox someone. I don't know how to help them through that. And I shouldn't
shouldn't
have been there. I don't.
What? Bitch, you're grown.
were you
You're
there?
dating
Because he
someone
asked
who's
me
a
to.
drug addict, and like you
And I
very
didn't
much know that.
was a phenomenally
You should
dumb
want to be
idea.
there and
I don't know
help.
why anyone. No, why the doctors and nurses didn't tell me not to. I didn't.
You're such
I had no idea what that was going to look like or be like.
I'm sorry, I'm
And
being
it was hell.
biased.
We're on an island. I'm trying to take care of him, and he was hallucinating and
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
overruled, screaming at me for things that I said when I didn't say any. I hadn't said anything. I would tell him, Johnny,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Well, I think in the context, Your Honor, it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted.
What's it for?
Objection, Your
Just
Honor.
telling the context of.
Quaker Oats.
Sustain
I
the
can't get it out of my mind.
Please continue and just say what he says and what he did and what your observations were.
he was accusing me of having a man in the house with me. We were in a single, in a cabin. It's basically one room with a closet and a bathroom. I mean, there's nowhere to hide, really. I mean, there's a closet and a bathroom. And he, at one point, told me that I was hiding somebody in the house. Another point, he was communicating with someone not in the room. It would yell at me, and then
I am
covering up
Dallas
a-
for
It
the
wasn't
tipped
there.
$2.
And
Could
I
we get
tried
a
to
henna check? For
ask for
my
what I
mother,
should do.
she
I didn't
loves
know what
seeing
to
our
do.
culture pop out.
It was terrifying and strange.
Eight.
The whole week was.
This wasn't my favorite henna that I've gotten done, but I will get a nicer one done next
After
time.
you left Bahamas and finished with the detox there, where did you go from there?
Guys, I'm gonna have so much. I'm pulling up the notepad. I have so much shit to say.
Debbie Lloyd, Dr. Kipper, and I and Johnny, we flew back to LA, and he was going back and forth between saying he wasn't going to continue to, he was committed. It was back and forth. Everything was up, down, erratic, like changing every second. And we got to LA, and Debbie and Kipper communicated with me. I won't say what they said, but I decided it would be probably in everyone's best interest if I went away to a hotel. Johnny put me up in this room in this hotel while he finished the process of detox in LA, and I had my friends out with my girlfriends there to support me as per usual.
So Michelle, can you pull up 272, please?
Ah,
after you both returned to LA, did Mr. Depp communicate with you by text while you were apart, while he was finishing the detox?
Oh my God.
Yes, he did.
Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of 272.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, to the first message. Excuse me, Your Honor, to the
You
second.
mean the response?
Right.
It's just present sense of impression, but I'm understanding Your Honor's
Yeah.
rulings on that.
Okay.
So
If you want to redact it,
can we
that's fine.
redact that second message?
Yeah, damn, I forgot. What is chiropractor for my neck? Yo.
All right, Your Honor,
All right. Any objection to 272 redact in?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, 272 is in evidence and we publish.
Fatwa Bro tipped $2.
Amber, I'm going to show
Sorry
you
to
now
interrupt
what is
Pokey,
Defendant's
but I
Exhibit
just want to say Eid
272,
Mubarak
and
from
this is
Singapore.
on
Smiley
August
face.
20, 2014. It's a text message from
Shukran.
Mr. Depp to you. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Mr. Depp
and
to
just
you.
so that we can highlight here, he's calling you, he says, just to let you know that I'm fine, my angel, I miss you, of course, but this was the right thing to do to speed up the process. I love you more than life. Yours, Steve. Do you see
Why
that?
does it say Steve, though?
I do.
So what, if any, expressions was Mr. Depp giving you at this point that he was angry with you, ever having to help participate with the detox or to be on the island
Is
or
that like
anything
his
along
secret
that
name?
line?
Steve something.
Objection, form, compound.
I'll allow it, but just for the, trying to keep the record clear, 272 has already been entered into evidence
Is that like
without
his
that
secret
redaction,
name?
so
Marking
there
Goals
wasn't any
tipped
objection. So
$2.
I
I
would
might
wish-
be wrong,
I
but
kept
weren't there
both sides
witnesses
to
that
keep
stated
track
that
of their
Amber
evidence.
took
It's not
drugs?
my
She also
job to
admitted that
keep
she took
this.
like shrooms and
Thank you,
MDMA
Honor,
with him,
and I just got
but
a note
not
to
like
that
the
effect,
harder
so-
drugs. I don't
Okay,
think.
so 272 is in evidence without, you can clear the redaction and publish it. It's really the party's responsibility to take care of the record, not mine.
My apologies on that one, Your Honor. All right.
All right, and I
Yeah,
overruled the objection.
MDMA
so
is a
stated.
hard drug.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's just less addictive,
Sorry,
perhaps,
can
than
you
some
remind
other
me what the
ones.
question was?
Yes,
That's fair.
that's fair. What, if anything, did
Actually,
Mr. Depp
maybe it's
say
less so
about
than
you
that.
were
I think
torturing him on the island and he
It's
didn't want
been
you
like
there?
branded as a less hard drug, but
Very
in reality, it
confusing for me
impacts
to
you a
hear
lot.
that.
How do you know? I actually know like quite a
because-
lot about drugs. I've watched my fair share
Even
documentaries.
though, he was
MDMA people
hallucinating
brand as
and
like a
angry
fun
at me
drug,
at
but it
various
is actually
moments when he would have these kind of
way more
episodes.
detrimental to your brain than like other things like acid or
I
whatever else.
did nothing but try to take care of him. I'm not a nurse. I did my best to support him.
I don't think it was in your
And
heart.
he thanked me. He thanked my mom. He thanked my dad. And told me, of course, I saved his life. That he wouldn't be able to make this change without me.
People
And
actually
that
talk like that,
this
saying like
process
you're my
was
life.
horrible and hard
I just
on
want you to
him
be
and us
happy.
and
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But that he was so thankful that I was there for him.
Okay, we can take this down now, Michelle, thank you. And I'm going to take you up
Sorry, I think
to
it's funny when
September,
Chet says alt.
October of 2014. Do you remember
Girlie,
filming
one
Magic
tear,
Mike
please.
2 in that time frame?
She was in Magic Mike too?
Yes, I do.
And what, if any,
Hi,
connections
Bobo.
did you have with Mr. Depp in that time frame?
Hi, my love.
Well, I bargained with him about me doing the role. He told me he would
Oh, that my
he would
little
call
boy. That my little
the actors. It was a mostly male cast. But I bargained with him.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Don't say what you said, just say what he said, okay?
He laughed?
He reluctantly kind of
Cowboy
agreed
Apotica tipped
to me
$2.
working
So like Amber Heard
on
Big
this
said,
movie
but
or
more
taking a
importantly, I
job.
kept saying
He was
Auburn
filming
Redman's meant
a different movie in
crimson.
London
Yay,
at the
that
time.
important to correct myself.
I
Oh my God, both fell.
wasn't going to play a sexualized character. I wore no makeup or minimal makeup in the movie. No sexy clothing. No kissing scenes. No sex scenes. So I went and did that film
Do you guys know if Johnny
in
did the
October
same thing?
of 2014 in Georgia.
Like
While
if he also didn't do kissing scenes?
finished his movie in London, and then at some point he came out to pick me up in Georgia, and
Oh, I love him so
was there for my last day or two of filming.
He laughed again? Okay, I'll change it soon, but first, I gotta love on my
I'm going
kitty a little
to
It's
bit.
not so tipped
ask you to
$2
turn
when you can't
to
get the tears
Ms.
out,
Huck,
so
can
you
bring up
just look at her
310,
knees.
Please, defendants 310.
So you just look at your knees. Hmm. How many kitties? Two. Two
Did you
little
have
babies, and they're both
communications
right there.
with Mr. Depp about auditioning for another role in this time frame?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to object to the exhibit as hearsay.
Is it?
I'm not sure who's in the text exchange.
It is a text exchange, Your Honor, so, but the green is Mr. Depp. And the one I'm most focused on is on the second page, Your Honor, the top.
The green bubble on the second page?
Yes.
Green text. Keck.
All right, so just that text?
Y'all don't use iPhones?
Based on Your Honor's rulings, yes.
Any objection to that text?
No, thank you, Your
Okay,
Honor.
if we can get that redacted.
Multimillionaire, no iPhone. Lol.
And while that's being redacted, and let me ask
Not you guys, I'm talking about
what,
them.
if any,
That's crazy.
anything was Mr. Depp saying to
What if you only have
in
Wi-Fi?
this time frame? We're talking in November 2014 about you not working anymore or not taking on any more work or auditioning.
Objection, Your Honor. Compound.
They're all the
And
same
leading.
subset.
Overruled, I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Johnny was angry with me for working. I had finished my job and I needed to eventually find another job, meaning a movie, to work on, and he was furious at me for, he found, like, we call them sides, they're just pieces of an audition, pages, and he found something that had been sent to me to consider auditioning for, and he blew up at me for, yeah, I think what he said to me is that I didn't tell him, that I didn't ask him, and that
Objection,
because he didn't know about that audition that I hadn't done yet, that I had been hiding it, and was furious at me.
All I'm imagining is Kristen
I,
Stewart. That's all that's in my head right now.
I ended up not doing that audition, I believe. Well, there was a few, one or two in that time that I did put I did audition for, and one or two that I didn't.
I'm going to ask you now to take a look at what is Defendant's Exhibit 310. Do you recognize this email?
Breathe
from
through the
Mr.
weekends.
Depp?
Don't look at them
Yes,
directly in
it's
the
a
eye.
text.
Your Honor, I'm going to move for the admission
It's
of...
in evidence, 310.
Oh, okay.
It's evidence
Thank
with
you.
redactions, so I published it.
Please tell the jury about this text and the context.
This was Johnny's response to me apologizing for having an audition.
Okay. Thank you. All right, now I'm going to stay in November of 2014. And did there come a time that Mr. Depp told you that he understood that you were not going to accept any more jobs, that you were going to stop working.
Well, Johnny said this to me in an argument, in a fit of rage, is the best way I can describe it, and kind of alluded to me having agreed to not work anymore, which if you don't know me, is
I don't. None of us do.
It's preposterous.
Literally no one.
There's no way I would agree to that.
And the jury knows you.
Although I did make concessions and gave up a lot of
Objection,
these
Your Honor.
fights.
Hearsay.
That wasn't
Weird.
Overruled.
Thank you. Please continue.
So he reached out to other people
It's like
and to
if they're
me
saying,
to
if you
that
don't watch
effect.
my stream,
Furious at me
between a
for
courtroom.
taking meetings. There was one in particular I wanted, one meeting I wanted to take because it was a project in development with a sci-fi writer. And I remember I wanted to take that. These things were just, they were just constant fights. But in between them, when things were good between Johnny and I, he would be, he would word it to me like, I'm trying to look out for you. You say that you don't want to be objectified, but you're doing it to yourself. But at first it was because I dressed a certain way or had sex scenes, and then it just got more narrow and more narrow and more narrow what I could do without being the blame.
Like, these are like
for
annoying
why
complications
the
in
industry,
your toxic relationship.
Hollywood, the
We
entertainment
wanna
industry
know,
was
like,
putting me in a box
about
and
the
objectifying
physical
me.
abuse,
So
if there was
it
any,
became
we
my
wanna
fault,
see
and I
evidence.
believed it.
Yeah.
I believed it. I adopted a
wanna
lot
know
of
the
these
inner
changes
workings of, like,
myself, not because
this
Johnny, said you have to do it this way,
Ask her about the
but
shit.
because of all the other
I
things that
wanna
he
know
said and
about
did,
the
I
shit.
eventually found myself making decisions about my own career, about how I dressed, about how I wore my hair, how I presented, where my eyes were cast when I walked into a room. And I believe those were my own decisions.
Amber, did there come a time in November of 2014 that you engaged in some couples counseling with Dr. Cowan and you and Mr. Depp?
We attempted to. I had stopped seeing my therapist at in 2014. I couldn't sustain seeing her and be in the relationship with Johnny, and I chose Johnny. Eventually, Dr. Kipper introduced me to his close friend, Dr. Cowan. And I met with Dr. Cowan and agreed to let them share communication about my care, my treatment, both what I said to Cowan and what I said to Dr. Kipper, who had become my physician as well.
Stephen Thihartsu tipped $2.
He also put
Amber
a
is an
nurse
abuser.
on
Johnny
me
likes
that
drugs
would
and
be my
drinks.
travel companion.
Amber created a
And
toxic
that travel companion
environment
would
in which Johnny may have done
keep
things to
tabs
her
on
in
me
self-defense.
and report to
Why is
Dr.
she
Kipper,
talking like
who
she's auditioning
reported
for a
everything
movie?
to Johnny.
Objection, hearsay. Calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. So tell us about the couples therapy in November 2014.
So Dr. Cowan, this man who is friends with Kipper, who's treating me, agreed to see Johnny and I together. And I don't know how many minutes of that went on before Johnny stormed out, knocked something off the table on his way out, and rolled a joint in the bathroom before storming out of the office, slamming the door.
Objection, don't give a fuck, honestly.
Right. So I'm going to take you up to December of 2014, and specifically December 17, 2014.
Like, is it bad? Yes,
And I'm
but
going to
I
ask
still.
you to take what, if anything, do you recall of
I think I feel
incident
bad
with
because
Mr.
she's
Depp relating
really
to Clive
unpleasant to listen to.
Barker?
He was the sci-fi writer.
And it
that I
always
liked.
ends up being
Well,
something that, like,
fantasy sci-fi writer.
I don't care about that much. That I feel like she's saying to make him look bad when in reality
I kind
it's
of had
like,
a dream project,
especially for someone
based on a
who's a
book
drug
that
addict,
I
like, if
loved
you've
of
known a
this
drug addict,
author. He's just a weirdo
It's just not fair,
genius,
honestly.
artist, writer. And I had a meeting with him through another director about a piece of property he wanted to make into a movie. And I just remember I believe we were at the ECB. It was in December of 2014 when Johnny found out that I had this meeting scheduled, and was furious at me. Accused me of having this plan to sleep with this. He was mad that I was taking the meeting at this man's house, but the man was very ill, like terminally ill, and not able to leave his bed or his home. He was under home care and very ill. And the person who was introducing us
Why you meeting a
explained to
terminally
me
ill man?
how we had to meet, and I did. And that was a big problem for Johnny. At first, it was that he
Not odd?
was concerned about my safety, and I thought that was sweet. And there is something that I thought was sweet and romantic about that, but combined with the drinking, it just
Does she have a history of cheating or something?
Not very
We
long
know that
before
she
I
did
was
cheat, but we don't
being
know at
accused
what
of
point in
full-on
the
having
relationship.
this other plan to sleep with the writer in order to get this part that I was already being, basically offered to develop.
Is
And
that
it
something
was just
that you had
this,
done before?
he switched from me he was accusing me of having this ulterior motive with this director, the director having it with me, then with this writer. And the important thing I can try to get across in this moment is that nothing I said, no amount of explaining, apologizing, accepting, not accepting, agreeing to not go, nothing worked. Nothing changed. How mad he was at me and constantly telling me I had done something wrong to deserve what was happening. Until, of course, he takes it too far, hits me too hard, breaks too many things in the house, and then leaves, which was the pattern. And he would leave and not have to deal with the cleanup. He never had to deal with the cleanup. He never had to deal with the destruction or see me or the house that he had destroyed. He never had to deal with my face the next day. He would just
Can we see it?
go. I called it splitting. He just split. And eventually I'd get an apology of some kind, or I would get an offer to have him come over. He would offer to come over and talk or give me my peace or give me my goodbye. And in many ways, I found myself accepting that, knowing it was kind of false pretense, because I too wanted to resolve it. I didn't want him to think I was sleeping with this sci-fi writer. I didn't want him to think that I was this slut he said I was all the time. I mean, part of me really wanted to believe that he didn't mean those things, and I wanted to get to that part of him that would tell me he didn't mean what he said and that he was acting this way because he was messed up, and the cycle would repeat, I suppose.
Was there any physical violence on or around December 17, 2014?
Yes is the answer to your question. I don't really remember
Just say yes.
what happened in that fight. I remember more afterwards. I remember
It's
how
like she's making
apologetic
it
he
too
was
obvious
for
that
it.
they prepped her.
I remember him
Like,
telling
yeah,
me
we
he
know
took it
you're
too
supposed to
far.
be prepped, but
I remember him saying he'd never do it again. And I remember wanting to get to Christmas. Christmases are hard, probably for everyone. And I remember it was close enough to Christmas that I was tired. And I wanted to be in a I wanted to be in a kind, gentle, peaceful state for Christmas. I didn't want to go through a breakup at this time. I didn't want to, that's what I remember of that time.
Let's bring up Defendant's Exhibit 321, Michelle.
well, guys, people are allowed to not remember things. Like, that happens.
This is on 12/17/2014.
My bigger issue is, like,
yesterday she remembered
for the amount of
everything that
time-
happened
It's a text
during,
message exchange
but
between
nothing
you and
after.
Mr. Depp.
And now it's the opposite lol.
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of
Listen,
defendants
I'm willing to give her the
321.
benefit of the doubt. I
Any
just want to
objection?
see a piece of evidence. Something.
Sorry, Your Honor, just a quick
Something.
minute.
A little something, something, please.
Your Honor, no objection.
All right, 321 in evidence. You can publish it, please.
Yo, can I just say, I love her fit. The green suit with the green flowy shirt.
Amber, I'm just going to
The
turn your
pants,
attention
looks
to this.
great.
This is an email exchange between you and Mr. Depp, and he says,
I like it.
I am truly sorry to have upset you to the degree that I
Slim?
have. I couldn't
Like
be more
shady?
sorry for yet again ruining your day. I do, of course, take your generosity, your selflessness, your affection, and your sweet doting deeply into my heart, and I think that I've been reciprocal. Agony is never the answer to any equation or occasion, nor is rage. Please know that my apology is sincere and solid, and as stupid as it sounds, I hope you're meeting with client.
I'm so sorry. I have to say this. He texts like a boomer. Only my dad does ... after every single line. And I think it's really, really cute. But again, just goes to show generational gap. Why does she respond doing the same thing? That's fucking weird.
Clive Barker is excellent. You see that?
I do too sometimes. Okay, sometimes.
Yes. Okay, and then you respond,
But only
thank
like,
you for
you know,
your words.
older
And you
people.
indicate
Do
you
it
just
after
left Betty
every
Sue, that's
sentence.
his mother?
Yes,
I
and
feel like she does a lot of mimicking.
I then had
I do that. No way you put ... after
a,
every single sentence.
a glass of wine with my former agent, Megan,
Okay.
that afterwards,
Wait, right?
she encouraged.
I do that a
Objection,
lot.
hearsay.
Yeah.
Okay,
How old are
thank
you?
you.
Sure.
All right, and we can take that down. Let's bring up 325, defendants 325, please.
My boss does that. Yeah. Okay. From my experience, when I see someone do that, they typically end up being an older gentleman. That's all I'm saying. From my experience. From my experience.
And this is an email exchange the
Someone said
following
what ...
day,
if ... if ...
12/18/2014.
I do ...
Is that correct?
that.
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd move the admission of defendants 325.
Literally, my dad texts like that. Mine
It's
too.
already in. Oh, it's already in, Your Honor. My apologies.
Maybe
We'll
it's
get
because they
that
think
later.
like that.
$2.
Which isn't a
Amber
bad
is obviously
thing.
a participant in an
It's already
abusive
in.
relationship,
Ben, in
but I
evidence,
don't
does
get
anybody
why
over
the
there have
context in
listed
which her
evidence as already in
testimony is
evidence?
viewed is
Okay,
always
we're making
slanted
sure.
against her, but not for Johnny, who is
Ours
probably
is the
just
case
as
it is.
bad.
It's in evidence.
Without redactions.
She
Your Honor.
hasn't admitted to anything bad that she's done,
It was
and we
redacted, I
know
don't
she's
know.
done
Well, it
bad
was
shit.
redacted,
The
too.
redactions.
So it makes her
don't-
testimony sound like kind of biased BS.
That's how it is in evidence, Mr. Murphy? We can check, we'll check our copy. Thank you.
She has done some shit. We can't. Oh my god.
It's fine, Your Honor. We've confirmed.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, can we
Someone said
publish?
pokey ...
Thank you.
main. Stop. Stop it. Arrête. Stop.
You can't see it on your screen? All right, we'll take care of that during the break. If you
I
could
find the
just share it
text
there.
exchanges
get
to be
it?
so
Okay,
interesting.
Thank you.
Hey, by the way, you have all these.
All right,
where are the
Okay,
ones
thank
where
you.
you said that he
So
said that
this
he hit
is
you?
from Mr. Depp, right?
Just a
Says,
question.
"Mr. Way, I've let it go too far, went too far." Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
I always regret it when I jump, or worse, when you jump. I don't want to be conditioned to continue that behavior. Therefore, I'll put in heavy work with shrink. What is your understanding of what he's
The
referring to with
therapist?
shrink?
Psychologist.
Objection calls for speculation.
Did you have an understanding of what he meant?
Yes, I knew exactly what he meant.
And what did he mean?
Shrink is shrink.
Yeah, I was just
What-
gonna
what
say
did he
shrink
call
sounds like
shrink?
shrink.
Johnny called
That's why I guess a therapist.
shrinks, meaning of psychologists, therapists.
That's what older people tend to call them.
I'm sorry for being less for your disappointment in me. For my behavior, I'm a fucking savage. You see that?
Yes.
All right. Gonna lose that, gonna lose that. The devil is all around, right? Now, you respond to this. And of course, before you go there, and he says, I am well aware I should have been bigger at the moment.
Wait, and now we pause me reading this whole shit. For starters, whatever, if he's a fucking savage, he also said, when I jump, or worse, when you jump. Okay, her too. I wish I were able to bring even just a glimmer of a smile to the pretty face of my most gorgeous of dreams and darkest nightmares. Gorgeous of dreams? Ah, darkest of nightmares. Troll despair. I love you far too much for you and I to be these heinous slinging insults like we do/did. It's always a mutual thing. It is not anything that I'm particularly proud of to have participated in, and I regret giving it life because MF, how when we fight, little girl? Wait, huh? How when we fight, little girl? How do we end up on the very edge of the precipice? And why? Wish I knew. Goddamn. And know that you are right. I am well aware that I should have been bigger than the moment and that I will never again manifest in negative experiences. It can be done. What a killer concept to visualize. Wish you were in this lunatic's proximity. Be careful out there.
It will never
I
again
adore you.
manifest in negative experiences. It can be done. What a killer concept to visualize.
This looks like an
yes, I do. And
Eminem
you respond,
song.
I love you, I miss you already, correct?
That's right.
And what, if anything, is that consistent with the cycle that you have described?
Well, the language he used after particularly violent episodes was savage, monster, devil. And so we ended up both calling his other side, the side of Johnny that would do and say unbelievably horrible things.
Okay, and when he
Very
said it was
different than the other
mutual,
Johnny.
what kind of
That
things
was, in my
did you
opinion,
do?
the exact opposite. And this is typical of the apologies that I would get when he took it too far physically. I was encouraged because I thought it meant he understood that he could really hurt me. Sometimes I didn't think he understood how much he could hurt me physically. I mean, so after this, I had a visible bruise. I don't remember where, but I remember what other people, well, I can't say that, what they said. So anyway, and I, in these fights, would try to stand up for myself. By December 2014.
Thanks,
I was pushing back. I'd push him off of me. I tried to hit his hands away. I tried to always get back up, which almost always made it worse. Always seemed to provoke him. But I tried. And worse, I would yell at him, I'd scream at him. I'd call him ugly names. So ashamed of the names we call each other. It was awful. It was awful. And we both got into that pattern. It was so, I felt so angry that this was happening to me. And it just felt so unfair, It felt like nothing I could do. It felt like nothing I could do would change the sobriety patterns. It felt like nothing I could do would stand up for him. And nothing I did made him stop hitting me. Nothing. So, I tried for over a year, maybe two, of just not responding physically, not responding verbally, just staring at him. I tried to freeze. I tried to go to a different place. I would try then lashing out verbally. I would try to threaten that if he hit me again, that I would call the police. The police were called.
The audio sounds weird.
I tried to do everything. I even
Also,
threatened
thank
to
you
leave
for the
him,
dono,
and
Sinister.
tried to leave him.
Welcome,
and nothing was
happy.
working. And I think by this point in our relationship, we're both saying awful things to each other, screaming at each other, and unfortunately, when Johnny would start hitting me, he'd just win. I'll also describe it.
This might be a good time for the lunch break.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take our lunch break at this time until 2 o'clock. Please do not discuss the case or do any outside research, okay? Thank you.
Damn it. Maybe I should have kept my Cairo. Guess that we just gotta talk for an hour. Oh, fuck.
All right. And again, ma'am, just don't discuss your testimony with anybody this time, okay? All right, thank you. So 2 o'clock? All right, thank you.
I won't talk to my foot shut. All right. Don't worry, Your Honor. Not like you did it before, don't do it this time. Alrighty, yo. How do we feel? Okay, I wrote a note. Okay? I wrote a note. I was so annoyed at the way that she tried to... What's the best word for this? She tried to make his drug addiction sound so terrible and messed up, and like he's so weird and crazy, and yeah, borderline embarrass him and all this stuff. And my issue with that especially is the way she described herself in that moment. She was like, and I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm not equipped for that. I shouldn't have been there. It sounded to me like she was being judgmental even in that moment. But if you've ever known someone, if you've ever loved someone who has a drug addiction, that's not the sentiment you have. You're not like, oh my God, get me out of here. They're crazy. You desperately wish you could help. You wish you knew the right thing to do. You're not like, oh my God, we need a nurse. I shouldn't be here. And you also, like, you would feel terrible sharing these kind of details publicly. Is it a terrible thing? Yes. Is it even a terrible thing for them to go through and for the people around them to go through? Absolutely. But the manner in which you speak about it, yeah, it almost sounded like she didn't truly care for him. Not to say that like she didn't love him or something, but I guess it just came from the perspective of a narcissist for sure. For sure. Tu parles vrai français. Poki, merci, j'apprécie ça. Damn, it was just... I hope that the jury can see past that. I understand that a drug addiction might make someone more violent, and therefore, you know, that's like something to consider in regards to domestic abuse. But I feel like she goes way too hard on the drugs and pain killers and prescription meds and blah, blah, blah aspects. And like, oh my God, listen to him like wailing on this plane, or look at him passed out. It's like, you're putting so much emphasis on these, like, I can't think of another word, kind of embarrassing parts of drug addiction, and little to no emphasis on him actually hitting you, or at least no evidence. It's all so damn weird to me. It's all so weird. Johnny Depp
Links
is a
VT
drug-abusing,
tips
violent
$2.
man.
I
Listen,
thought
I've
it was
seen
really
you spam
interesting
this.
that Johnny always apologized via text about an incident they both contributed to, and Amber never replied with an "I'm sorry" too.
Listen, it's okay that you think that, but to me, there's proof that he's a drug addict. I just haven't seen enough proof that he's a violent man. Also, yeah, that is interesting. She also would usually say that she's sorry.
Shrink.
What did he call shrink?
Oopsie. I want to see the rest of it. Who is Steve? That's Johnny. I hope Steven sues her for defamation as well.
Ed__ cheered 200 bits. It's like she only has evidence for his addiction, which we already know about,
Yeah.
but not what she's actually accusing him of.
Yeah, it's so weird. Why, Steve? I don't know. I'm guessing he just liked to go under a different name for privacy purposes. That's my best guess. I'm trying to see if there were other messages. Also, this was high-key so sad. Like him leaving her during his detox. Yeah. Oh, also, yeah, she did say that he texted through, he texted through his assistant, so maybe Steve was one of the assistants. No, guys, my hair appointment is at noon.
Compound.
Where did Amber say that she's also sorry? Wait, did you guys hear about the Ray J Kim K stuff? I know it's not super related, but oh my god. Ooh, also we could watch the beginning part that we missed. I don't know if you guys saw that. No, what's up? So you know how Kim K and Ray J leaked an adult film, or there was an adult film of them leaked years and years and years ago? In the most recent episodes of the Kardashians show, they were saying that Ray J's manager was threatening them with another adult film that just hadn't been posted. And then Ray J was annoyed by the way that they made him look on the
Steve
show.
$2.
So he
It's
came
because
out
that's all-
with this massive statement saying that Kim K and her mother were in on the leaking of this video from the start. Like they intentionally wanted to leak this video.
Sleepy Cat
Isn't that
tipped $2.
insane?
Steve is a character from a movie they both love, so it's her nickname for Johnny while hers is Slim.
Oh, I see. Can you imagine being a mother and helping your daughter leak her own sex tape? Is that sex positive or just weird as fuck? It's hard for me not to feel that it's weird as fuck. Yeah.
Take Steve tipped $2.
And you know
It's
what else
because
is
all she
crazier?
has on him is his drug addiction, so she has to go all in on it to survive this case.
What else is crazy? I think. Do you guys remember how Kim K was Paris Hilton's like assistant or something? Or closet cleaner, some shit like that. So Kim K, like, low-key worked for Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton actually had a sex tape of hers leaked. Like, she didn't do it herself. Because I've seen the documentary that she did. And the way she spoke about it made it very evident that it was not something she wanted and something that hurt her a lot. But I think Kim K saw how that propelled her career, her being very close to Paris Hilton, obviously saw it. So she was like, I should do the same thing. Jesus Christ. They wanted this fame so desperately from the start. So to be honest, at this point, I kind of have little to no empathy for them left. Like any of the scrutiny or bullshit that you guys face, you've been wanting this. You've been wanting it for like decades. That's weird and gross. Yeah. You been wanting it. Okay, do you guys want to listen to the beginning?
Zero. Suggesting that
Also, I want to go change my shirt, so I'll be right back.
Let him rent my apartment for the vultures. That's what he called the press. And he said now that we were like a known couple, now that it was out in the press, that my apartment wasn't like safe effectively for me. And I had a modest apartment in Los Angeles. And so he started saying I needed to have security on me, or we'd rent out the neighboring houses because of the vultures, and it was a conversation, and then that conversation evolved into I should move in with him. Always wanted me to go with his security guards, wanted me to have his credit card. Obviously, I wouldn't accept that, but the conversation about moving in became hard to resist because I was increasingly becoming a part of his life, and also loving his family and feeling like, more stability would mean more stability with him and his struggles with drug and alcohol use. And I thought I would minimize some of the jealousy and insecurity that he had. It was hard for me to justify working. Every audition, every meeting, every script I got was a negotiation or a fight. I had to justify it like as if I was saying, hey, let's have an open relationship. It was, and I thought that would be minimized if I could make him feel more jealousy and insecurity that he had. It was hard for me to justify working.
Did she say they had an open relationship?
Every script I got was a negotiation or a fight. I had to justify it like as if I was saying, hey, let's have an open relationship. It was, I thought that would be minimized if I could make him feel more secure. But, if we live together, certainly there would be more security, right? And that was my reasoning.
Surely.
So you talked about still reading scripts and things. What, if anything, did you do differently in terms of pursuing your acting career?
Well, I've always been really independent, and I've never imagined not working. I've worked from the earliest time I can imagine. I come from,
I don't know why she scrunches her face like that, but I feel like everything she says would be 40% more believable if she wasn't doing this.
Parents who worked until they literally couldn't anymore. I never
Outfit is
imagined
giving
myself
Pilgrim.
having to explain my job.
It's still
or
giving
justify
Quaker
my
Oats
job,
to me.
but I did, and I am independent, and I see myself as independent and strong-willed, and I had to bargain every time I'd get a script.
I see myself as independent and strong-willed.
Be
so odd.
I thought you weren't taking another job. I'd always say, are you kidding me? That's crazy. I have to work. I support my family. When I moved out to LA, I'd get a check for, a gig, $600 or something. I'd save half for me, send half to my family. I kept having to justify taking work by saying, I'm supporting my parents, I'm supporting my sister,
it's
I'm
almost
supporting
like
my family.
character
I have
creation.
to work. And he would say, you don't have to work, kid. Let me
Guys,
take care of
this
you.
is
My
me.
woman doesn't have to work. And that sounds really sweet and really romantic in some way, but it became a real fight. Every time I got a script, it was what kind of, how I was dressing, what kind of behavior I'd have, how did I have a sex scene? And then I started saying, no, I won't take the sex scenes, or, I'll take the part where I
Naughty.
don't play, that kind of character.
Wait, this is such a good point. She's talking about how she sends half her money to her family. I remember when she said she donated 7 million to charity. So if you guys didn't see that part, she said that she would donate, I think, everything she got from the divorce, which was like 7 million, to a charity. And then she ended up giving, I think, less than half of that, and just never coming through with the rest of the donation. Yeah. Yeah. So where the rest at? 350K was all she gave. Everything else was donated in her name. Elon Musk, I think, donated $500,000 on her behalf.
Click the link, Queen, click it. Amber Heard posing for a picture with the napkin.
I mean, I think maybe she was just, maybe she was just wiping her nose.
And after
Okay, no, that looks like it was frozen in time.
And after
No, that looks frozen in time.
And after
Did that actually happen? With the The more you watch it, the worse it looks. Is the video edited?
Or then I.
Let me see if I can. Oh, here it is. Let's find out. Is this Twitter rumor shit? Or is it real? She really fucking did. I was ready to not believe it. I really was. No shot.
And after you both returned to
Oh, she held that.
Michelle, can you pull up 272, please? And after you both returned to LA, did Mr.
Nah, man. That's crazy. Looks like she's just blowing her nose, though. I talked about this before. What she does with that tissue makes no sense. And I know this is such a weird thing to pick apart, so I hate to do it to him, but I will do it to him. Which part is it at? Okay. Let me show you. There's no tears. There's no nothing. Right? She brings... I'll back up a little bit so you can see.
My friends out.
She not crying.
My girlfriend's there to support me as per usual.
Nothing.
So Michelle, can you pull up 272, please?
She goes, and then dabs the tissue like on her nose, not like, and she doesn't even like blow her nose. She like does this. She doesn't like blow, and she doesn't like pat any tears. I can't get over that.
And after you both returned to...
And it's like, you did all that just so you could do this? What does that mean? I felt like this was like overcompensating. To be like, no guys, I actually was. Like there was actually something there.
_boy
You literally have
_
tissue in your
Nikita
hand. Why would you?
$2. Praising your own character while speaking poorly of someone else is often a manipulative tactic. She should be staying on topic, cause all
Well,
this
it just
fluff will work
feels
against
like it
her.
lacks
The facts and
self-awareness.
evidence should speak for themselves. She wiled in.
Bro, I'm still annoyed that out of all the things that she has said about him hitting her, breaking her nose, doing whatever, one, no one else has substantiated, and two, she has shown no evidence of it. I just want to see something, sweetie. Please. Please.
LA.
Like, you know, move in with him and give up my place.
Zara 191
14 fucking hours
tipped
from leaving your
$2.
side.
Johnny's face seems to light up too, so I'm not sure it's a camera flash.
Oh, you're right. I figured it was maybe just like an overall flash, like not a flash directing, but like a round flash. But why else would their faces flash? It's not a flash, it's evidence coming up on the screen. Oh, the monitor. Oh. Oh, actually, you're right. It wouldn't make sense for them to use flashes in a courtroom. All right, it's been debunked. That shit looked funny as hell, though. It did look very funny. Happy Cinco de Mayo. You can hear a click, but maybe it's a click from like the monitor. I guess we'll know if that picture is ever released. How about that? I don't want to make anything an issue, baby, but I literally have been on the ground just 14 hours from leaving your side. You know what I want, who I am, and where I want to go with us. You know very well that type of man I am. And yet, you lay a gauntlet before me that you know is the very species of danger that will always attract me into a very tempting test. What's behind that door? Almost impossible to not take you on? You want me to roll the dice? This sounds more like an aggravated ultimatum than the soft words that could help to make us both feel better. Don't test me, please. What the hell is this about?
I spent on the phone with him, texting, calling, or talking, hanging up. He'd hang up on me, be upset, and then send me cryptic messages about my foolishness. And, you know, I'm already...
Pokey, you gotta also consider that it's almost always hard to showcase evidence in cases like this because abuse is usually hidden. I don't disagree with you at all. It's just weird. Like, if she showed no evidence at all, that's one thing. But she is showing evidence of the most random shit and not the most important stuff. Does that make sense? Like, let me thoroughly document this bruise on my cheek and not my broken nose? Let me thoroughly document the cocaine and no one else can speak about the plane full of people that watched him kick me in the back and watch me fall? It's just odd. Did you see what her assistant said about her? Yeah. I kind of want to disregard this because she said some bad things about the assistant and the assistant said some bad things about her, so... Her expert witness claimed there is medical records of abuse, though. Where is that? I don't know. Like, if you have a really messed up nose, you go to the doctor, and then there should be records of that, right?
Doing a movie where I play this, you know, character when I, you know, where I was empowered, like I read the script and I thought this character was empowered sexually. And by the time I got Johnny's feedback on it, I had been convinced that actually I was just being used, that I was just being used. It was clear that that was all I had to offer and I was too foolish to see it. And I had
Amber, I'm just going to stop you right there because I'd like you to take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 188A.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in front of you? Do you recognize this portion of the text chain between you and Mr. Depp?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and this is on September 9, 2013?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and...
What? Did you hear the ex-assistant testified that Amber stole her sexual assault story and twisted it into her own? I'm sorry. What? I would like a clip, good sir.
Anonymous cheered 200 bits.
Thank you.
Are these statements
I'm not
Mr. Depp
believing
made
anything
to you during that
until
evening that you just described to the jury?
I get a clip.
Yes. Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of defendants 188A.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 188A in evidence as redacted. Do I have that redaction, or is that something you need to give me?
I think we're going to need to give it to you
Okay.
hard copy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. And if I
You can publish.
can draw your attention to it, he first says, I don't want to make anything an issue, baby, but I literally
have
have
an
been on the
hour,
ground just 14
and then I
fucking
gotta go.
hours from leaving your side. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then he says, you know what I want, who I am, and where I want to go with us.
Is it this? Amber Heard stole my sexual assault story. Ex-aide tells libel trial. Amber's formal pronoun has accused the actor of stealing her own experience being a victim of sexual violence and twisting it into a different story. In evidence given remotely from Los Angeles, Kate also said she had regularly received a barrage of drunken, abusive, and incoherent text messages from Heard. To my utter shock and dismay, I discovered that Miss Heard had in fact stolen my sexual violence conversation with her and twisted it into her own story to benefit herself. This, of course, caused me extreme distress and outrage that she would dare to attempt to use the most harrowing experience of my life as her own narrative. That is really, really disgusting. James told the court that she had been subpoenaed to give evidence. She was doing so because she's a sexual
Shrekin
violence
tipped
survivor.
$2. The only thing I hear from Amber's story
take
is
that
Johnny
stance if
gave
you are
me
not
stuff. Money, money, money and more money.
I'm curious what she's referring to exactly. Do you guys think Amber Heard is cognizant of her actions or just delusional on another level? Like, sometimes it's hard to tell. Like, does she know, or is she just super delusional? I'm polling it. She knows. Delusional. Delusional. Deli. Damn it. I'm gonna go get my hair done, but it's probably gonna take a while. I'm gonna get hungry. I'll just bring a bar. They know, they know, they know. They know, they know, they know. They are dating for 14 years. It is hard to gather evidence when most of the time you aren't aware you're in an abusive relationship until afterwards. I don't disagree, but you can also spin it as like they were dating for 14 years. There must have been ample opportunities for her to gather evidence, which is clearly showcased by the fact that she does have evidence of a lot of random shit. His drug use, him falling asleep. She recorded him on the plane making really loud noises, which is odd. But you're not going to take a single photo of your broken nose? That's my issue. It's less so they are not together that long. Oh. Well, it's less so I would be more inclined to believe someone who had photos of I would be more inclined to believe someone who had photos of nothing than someone who has evidence of the most random shit and not the most important stuff. Because that just sounds like you're trying really hard to push a certain narrative by giving evidence of side things and lying about the extreme things. Like, there must be a medical record of a broken nose. Also, that's what a non-Islamic relationship looks like. I think this is such a bad take. There are abusive relationships in and out of religion, whether it's Islam or Christianity or any other religion. Like, obviously, ideally, we would love to say, like, religion tells people not to do these things. People still will. Sometimes people will use religion to justify their abusive actions. But if you're in like a very true, good religious relationship, like one that actually benefits off of religion, like you both became better people due to following whatever guidelines you learned, that's beautiful and amazing. But I don't think you can look at a relationship and be like, oh, well, they're both religious, so there's definitely no abuse. Or they're both not religious, so there definitely is abuse. Like, it's just not, it's not that black and white. They know, they know, they know. Do, 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 do. They know. What the fuck is that? Oh my god. In her case in London, according to the court statements, she spoke on the Boston situation where Johnny's assistant told her through text that he told Johnny that Johnny kicked Amber. I'm confused by that, don't know. So he kicked her? Also, can't they bring evidence from another trial into this one? Are they on break right now? Yeah, they are until 11. Yeah. So is there that evidence? Oh, we saw this, but we also deduced that it might not be a camera. It could be like the monitor flashing because the light flashes in front of DEPP as well. Am I the only one who's a little bit... I'm not gonna lie. I'm like mad that she made us listen to
Kiki cheered 1,000 bits.
And won't show us any of the good shit? You really made us sit through that? There was evidence photos that were tampered with from the other trial. Hmm? I was really excited for Amber to take the stage. Damn, she really do be acting. I was really excited for Amber to take the stand. But now I am more excited for Johnny to take the stand afterwards. Again, I hope. Or for her to be cross-examined. You didn't misspeak, though. Fruity and slip. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't even know. They know, yeah, that the real is on the rise. After mother guys, I even gave him a chance to shine. That's something they know. They know, they know, they know. Okay, sorry. Turret's new PR team, hard at work, I see. Not the NYP photoshopping fake tears. We all watched the trial live. So true. I was waiting for even a single tear, like just one. I would have given her so many brownie points for a single tear. But you know what else is crazy? Even if we see this debunked on Twitter, there will be people who only see the New York Post's photo and do maybe side with her just based off of that. Which, you know, the takeaway from that is everything on the internet. Well, not everything on the internet, but don't trust anything on the internet until you really, really, really check for it yourself. I think they were both abusive and awful to each other. I think they were both, at the very least, like, verbally abusive to each other. I still want to see, like, proof that Johnny was physically abusive. Yeah. Only because, like, that's the main point of contention here for the defamation trial, right? Ooh, sorry. They know, yeah. She said he tried to break two people's wrists, bro. Where are these people? No. He didn't try to break them. He would just grab them and threaten, like, I could break your wrist right now. But yeah, you could still have those people testify that he did those things. For sure. In your opinion, based on what we've seen, was Amber abusive physically to Johnny? I don't recall if there was super specific evidence of her doing that, but I think there might have been people that testified that she has maybe like hit him and he just kept trying to leave. Bro, I didn't want to be BM and say this myself, but yes. I think her cheek implants are making her emotions look off. So true. And because it's so angular, it's beautiful, but it's not like soft. Oh yeah, his finger. That's what it was. Yeah, his finger. Well, sorry, maybe it's not cheek implants. Maybe it's just very, very hard filler. But it does kind of look like an implant. That the real is on the rise, the mother guys. Actually, that's true. It's so interesting to see how it ruins, essentially, like,
he wouldn't come home, or they couldn't get him up out of.
She almost constantly looks
on set. He'd be asleep in his trailer, sleeping whatever he'd done the night before off. I remember he missed a few days of work that way. It struck me because in my experience in our job, you don't miss work. It doesn't matter how sick you are. You go. It's millions of dollars every single day. They're filming, and I had not experienced someone who could effectively just control the set like that. To that extent.
Well, he's Johnny Depp, so.
One day he didn't come home.
Not that it's a good thing, but
I was worried
surprised.
sick. I found out that he was in a hotel room with Paul Bettany.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay. Move forward, because
when he came home, they had to.
His lawyers are good. Yeah, guys, I think the camera was just frozen during then. I'll just skip ahead so it doesn't look annoying.
A lot of voice memos, voice notes.
Can we hear him?
And, if I found that if I said, Kate, you left the car running with your doors open and your kids in the car on the street. To be an impulse thing. So I didn't want to mention it. I want to bring.
Okay.
Very different.
I'm going to take you to September of 2013. What were you filming at that time? London Fields?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
I was filming London Fields. I just started.
All right. And did there come a time that you were in?
Yes, very well said. I feel like it's very narcissistic to talk about just her abuse without acknowledging his abuse. Like she's painting him as this monster, but it seems very reactive. Even his message to her basically straight up says he was being conditioned to react that way with her. That's crazy. Yes, literally every message that she has brought up Johnny always clearly states that this is a mutual thing. Disgusting. And it just makes you, as a viewer, not, or even as a jury, it makes you not want to side with her, because if you're leaving out the details of him being abused by you, what else can we assume you're leaving out or misrepresenting? True, but she's not going to say I hit him. Even if she was smarter, she would at least make it sound more believable by saying, like, we were in a toxic situation. He would yell, I would yell. Like, at least show that you're responsible in some way. But she's just trying way too hard to paint herself as an angel.
200 bits.
She did say that. Well, maybe less so just yelling, but in every situation, she's like, I just left. I left and he did all this and all that. Oh, sorry. I don't mean the evidence of her admitting, which is interesting in and of itself. I mean her testimony. I'm just talking about it. In her testimony, she takes zero accountability whatsoever. Sorry, guys. This is not me debating whether or not she's done these things. I'm saying it's very clear she's done these things. But when she's telling her side of the story, she's not mentioning those things at all. So it makes her side of the story sound very, very, very biased. She's going to be shredded by Johnny's lawyers. Easier to get JD's case thrown out if they prove her article wasn't false, but that her also being abusive wasn't false. She has borderline personality disorder. True. Well, I mean, I think that's what they've testified to. Yeah. It's stupid of her to tell these stories as if she's an angel in this storyline and he's this big bad monster, devil, Satan. When we've already heard evidence of her being toxic, we've heard from all these testimonies, and Bish, you was there. You were there listening to all this stuff. So why are you acting innocent? Very, very odd. Oh, I'm scared to click this. Sorry. In general, as a public affair, I don't knock her for coming off artificial or one-sided. The thing is, this is not just a public affair. Like, you're on the stand in front of a jury. These are human beings that you want to convince of your side. This is not how you do it. Being inauthentic is not how you do it. I mean, it's not like you should make yourself look bad with your testimony. She has to paint it like this. You shouldn't make yourself look bad, but because we've already seen evidence of you being a certain way, this narrative you're trying to pitch us is not believable. You need to, state a narrative that makes you seem the best, but is still in line with the evidence we've already seen. Does that make sense? If you guys have been following the case, it's been so many people. So many testimonies, pieces of evidence. And she's just like, oh, let me tell you guys this story. Where do all of those things that you just saw fit into this story? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know? Whereas, bro, would it not have been so impressive if she came on and she was like, listen, yeah, I did some fucked up shit. Not with these words. But if she admitted to the weird shit that she did and the weird shit he did and gave examples, any type of evidence, and then she was like, but I did not hit him and he hit me and these were the situations, and even a little, a medical record and anything, I'd believe her. I'd believe her because yes, toxic relationships do exist, and typically when they get to this level of toxicity, it does become a mutual thing. Or I don't want to say typically, but a lot of the time. So Like, at least just own up to that. Just own up to it, bro. She could argue that her messed up stuff are consequences of Johnny's abuse. True? True? Maybe instead of hitting him back, she shot on his bed. Okay. But tell us, did you shit on his bed? We want to know. Like, you can't say we... Bitch. No. We can't. My God. She can't say that. She can't say that. It'll make her look bad. She already looks bad. If she tells us this story where she looks like an angel and Johnny tells us this story and he has 7 people backing him up, who do you think we're going to believe? It's just not a good look overall.
Became engaged to Mr. Depp.
Well, yeah, it was difficult because in that role was a very difficult role. I mean, every time, every scene that involved sexuality or romance was like, I'd look at that on the page and it felt like I'd feel my gut tighten because I knew it was going to be an issue. But Johnny dropped me off. I gave him the script. I sent him pictures of what I was wearing in my wardrobe fittings. I sent him everything. I shared his script.
I remember hearing her say this, and I think she said it yesterday too. And I'm like, okay, if he was really opposed to you wearing anything sexual and you sent him photos of everything that you would wear, then should there not be an example of maybe him being like, oh, you look like a slut, or you look like a this, or you look like a that, or oh, that's nice if it's something really modest, or like cover up, or whatever. I had a guy say that shit to me once. Bish, I still got the text. Not saying that just because someone says that, like, you need to always have evidence, but after everything she has said, like, I just wish there was evidence of something. Something, bro. I almost would believe her lack of evidence more if she didn't describe herself as so self-aware in those moments. And what I mean by that is when she recalls or when she describes incidents where he hits her and then he asks for her back, she'll be like, and I know you can't come back from someone hitting you. I know this. I know that. If you knew in that moment that what he was doing was so bad, like, shouldn't you take a photo or tell someone, or like document it in some way? I feel like if someone, and I'm not saying like people don't take other people back, they for sure do. But I feel like when you do, you tend to be a little more delusional about what happened in the sense that you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. As opposed to being like, oh my God, he hit me. It was terrible. We're never coming back from this, but I'll take you back. Does that make sense? It's more about the way that she's describing herself in that moment that sounds weird. Yeah, like it's usually more of like a blind love, or like I was, I thought it was just like a slip up. But when she described the first time he slapped her, she was like, I knew we would never come back from that. And it's like, okay, so you're really aware in that moment of how terrible it is. And you have 2 billion photos of him sleeping, but 0 evidence of that? So odd. Closing submissions, paragraph 140 to 145. Bish, how do I find that? Oh. Wow, that looked like a lot of work. I'm sorry. It's always risky to say someone doesn't react like a victim because people react in so many different ways, but something feels off about her all the time. I agree, and I hope that me stating my opinion isn't like, I don't ever want to not just seem like I'm victim blaming, but I don't want to give other people a reason to victim blame in the future either. I'm really just trying to speak about my perspective on this sole case and just my opinion. I obviously can't say for sure. And I hope you guys, you know, can be adults and make your own judgments and be respectful towards others or similar situations in the future. This whole situation is very damaging for victims of DV. I agree. I'm out here like, is this thing that I said wrong? And considering all the shit she's done, I mean, I know, but who asked? Like, we're talking about a trial here. Weird chomp. Look at how long this nail of mine got. It's probably not even gonna... It's... You are so bad at autofocusing, camera. You really, really are. Whatever. Whatever. Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, I really am just sat here doing my nails. Well, you know, we're just pause champing another 8 minutes. I guess I'll just play the video.
My script with his team, and the fighting eventually kind of minimized. It was clear I was going to do this job, and I told myself I had to do this job. And Johnny had to go to London, I think, for some pre-production stuff for a movie he was going to do a smaller part in. I think it was called, I think this was Into the Woods, is my best guess. So he dropped me off in London, and when he dropped me off in London, we had a few days at this hotel that we first, you know, consummated.
Can I just say, if she goes through her entire testimony and doesn't mention the finger thing once, I'm gonna be so mad.
Made our relationship in, you know, it was when we were on the London press tour, and our relationship developed. That was the same hotel, and we were in this same room, which is Johnny liked to be in the same room. And it was really sweet. He got down on
look at Johnny's
one knee and said, I want you to be my girl, be my girl forever, my woman, my girl. I want you to be the rest of my life. Say yes to me. He said he wanted to spend every day. He promised me that every day when I woke up, that I would wake up and he would make me smile at least once. And that would be his goal. And, you know, I looked into his eyes and I saw my future, hope, you know, like blind hope. I was so in love. It was one of the most, I can't describe that kind of joy, you know. I thought,
this isn't even live.
You know, if we were married, then this is real. This is real. This isn't a thing of, this isn't chaotic, and this will change. You know, I
was listening to this while getting ready in the morning before I started my stream, but I remember when she was saying, if we get married, then like this is real, this is real. This will be real to everyone else. Which she'll elaborate on in a little bit. And it made me realize, like, oh, it kind of sounds like in that time, she was still trying to prove herself, prove her relationship to others. It was less so about her relationship itself and more so about how do others view our relationship. And I think that's also why she brought up the prenup. And she said, like, oh, you know, that way people have no reason to think that I'm a gold digger. It's like, oh, so this whole time, was that maybe one of the reasons that you stayed with him in order to, like, prove the relationship because you didn't want to leave because of how it would look publicly? I don't know. It got me thinking about some things.
I had so much hope in that moment. And I just said to him over and over again, are you serious? Are you real? Are you serious? Are you sure? Because he didn't have a ring. So I thought, is this an impulse thing? You know, my experience, Johnny, could be very impulsive. And he said over and over again, be my woman forever. I want you to be my wife, my wife, my wife. I, of course, cried. And we had a wonderful evening, and he left shortly after, and
Can you do it again?
Like the next day I had to go to work. Sorry. And I couldn't tell anyone, and I wasn't sure. Part of me was worried that he didn't mean it, or, you know, or that he wasn't sure. You know, I just didn't want it to be an impulse thing. So I didn't want to mention it. I want to bring it up. I didn't want to. And I kind of felt.
Oh, she sounds like she's talking about someone with Alzheimer's. Like, do you really mean it? And then I didn't want to bring it up afterwards because maybe he forgot. I
walked around for a few days like I had butterflies under my skin. And then he brought my dad out to London with my best friends. And my dad told me, you know, Johnny has asked me permission for your hand in marriage.
Like, I cannot imagine someone proposing to me and then I don't bring it up. Their relationship was odd. Very, 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 very odd. And what is this story for? What have most of these stories been for? Bish, oh no. Dad is a snitch.
I felt like the luckiest woman in the world.
So while you were filming London Fields and Johnny had gone...
Bro, like, her crying is actually so good. Like, I believe it, but then there's no tears. It's so confusing to me as a human being. Because I'm like, the timing, the voice, the face, like, everything adds up. But then just no tears.
And back to L.A.
How do you believe that? Well, I guess tears are DLC. Stop. I guess what I mean is, like, if you're in a courtroom testifying about your ex-husband who was abusive, and you're testifying about, like, the pinnacle of your relationship, which is him proposing, and how you felt like the most special, beautiful person in the world, especially looking at where you're at now, I could understand bawling my fucking eyes out in that moment. Like, this is how it ended up, but in that moment, like, I felt so special. Where the fuck are the tears, though?
What, if any, issues did you have with him on fraternizing with the cast? I'm going to ask, Michelle, can you pull up Defendant's Exhibit 188, please?
Your Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay.
Your Honor, I'm going to, let's pull up 188A. I've redacted everything but what Mr. DEPP says.
All right, let me just
on 188A.
188A.
That's submission against interest. Do you have that? You don't have it? give that a minute. While they're working on that, can you tell us what transpired between you and Mr. Depp when you wanted to do something with a cast member?
So, as I said, he came to London for his own work and also dropped me off in London, where I had to be for a few months to film this movie. And he asked me to marry him. He brought my best friends and my dad out. They left. And shortly after they left,
I know it's time, but it's not back yet.
Relationship was false and cost him his reputation along with several acting roles. Now, Depp is also claiming that he is the real victim of abuse in their relationship, but there is so much more. Heard is countersuing Depp for $100 million over his alleged scheme to tarnish her reputation following the op-ed. Since
Bruh. $100 million. I like that she said bucks.
All right, thank you. All right, you be seated. Your next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michelle, can you bring up Defendant's Exhibit 236, which has already been admitted?
Thank you.
Oh.
Amber, I'm jumping back to the Boston plane incident just for a moment. We had a lot of different text and a lot of exchange, but I just wanted to point out to you, this text message is from Mr. Depp to you, correct?
Yes, it
and
is.
This is on 5/25, the day after the Boston plane incident?
That's correct.
All right, and he is saying, once again, I find myself in a place of shame and regret. Of course, I am sorry. I really don't know why or what happened, but I will never do it again. I want to get better for you and for me. I must. My illness somehow crept up and grabbed me. I can't do it again.
Do you guys think there's a chance Johnny slapped her but doesn't
I know
remember?
you can't either. And I will for both of us, starting today. I love you. Again, I'm so sorry. So sorry. I love you and feel so bad for letting you down. Do you see that?
I do.
And was that the message that you testified to, that he gave you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to jump back to where we left off. We're up in January of 2015. Danish girl, you're filming in London, is that correct?
Yes, that would have been.
I kind of want to see one of her
January
movies just to see
2015.
how I feel about her acting now.
Now, we heard some testimony from Isaac Baruch earlier
think I've
about a
seen her in
telephone call that you had with Mr. Depp. Do you recall that call?
I do.
Can you please tell the jury and remember to tell them what Mr. Depp was saying on that call? And you can give the back. I didn't mean to cut you off on the context. Go ahead.
Is it okay to? The nature of the conversation was
Yes.
pleasant.
Y'all hear that little motorboat?
Friendly, fine, normal, and then
Motorboat, yeah.
Johnny stopped making sense with this. Like, you know, he'd start a sentence and then trail
never
off
watched Aquaman.
and act confused when.
Bro, I've never seen Toy Story. You think I watched
I'm
Aquaman?
confused. And that pattern kind of increased
Is it like a
pretty
fish guy?
dramatically in a short amount of time.
Why is she
And
in
I was in a
Aquaman? She's
hotel
a
room
woman.
in London speaking to him in
Good one.
Los Angeles. And the phone, what I assumed cut off. I thought it was a connection issue. And I remember getting out of bed and walking into the bathroom to get something, and I was redialing him. And in the span of that short amount of time we had been disconnected, it was minutes, not even minutes. I called him back thinking the phone had been disconnected, and he answered and he said, how could you tell me that? How could you say that to me? Who the fuck is he? Who the fuck is he? And he asked me that a few times, and I was
It's hard for
so
me to
confused.
listen to stuff like this because I'm like, was this before or after you cheated on him? If it was
Expressed
after,
that to him.
like,
He
I
says,
understand.
Who is the guy, the one in New York that you're fucking? And it was such a bizarre conversation because it had already started to feel like he was not making, it was almost as if he was confused by what sentence he had started by the time he got to the end of it. And then all of a sudden he tells me that I have just told him that I had a boyfriend or a lover in New York, and he's accusing me of having just told him about it, which was crazy. To me, not only was that not accurate, I would never have communicated with him like that. More or less called him on the phone to do it and then call him back and wonder what the connection issue was. It was just the most bizarre thing. But he was so worked up, incoherent, and accusing me of having had this conversation with him. Eventually the line dropped out, and I spoke to the person who picked up the phone.
كيفاش نقول alt بالعربية. Like,
and how did that end?
يعني alt.
I no longer spoke to Johnny. I probably can't say what the person told me.
Are we talking about Isaac Baruch?
Yes.
Okay. So without saying what he said, you had a brief conversation with Mr. Baruch, and that was the end of the call?
I did. That was my understanding. Johnny was passed out.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay.
Sustained.
All right. January 25, 2015, Tokyo. Please tell, it's the premiere of Mordecai, correct? Did you accompany Mr. Depp to Tokyo for the premiere of Mordecai?
I did. When I was...
Please tell the jury about that trip.
Well, I had just started to pick out the wedding dress right before that trip, and plans were moving for us to get married shortly after this trip. So we took this trip to promote his movie. I went with him. We got in an argument in the hotel room, and I said, I don't remember what I said to him, but I said something snotty to him that provoked him. It provoked him. And when I walked into the hallway, he grabbed me by the arm and slammed me up against the hallway wall, and I kind of struggled with him, tried to push him off of me, and I managed to get out of his grasp enough to take a few steps, and I kind of curved around and went into the closet. And by the time I made it into the closet, he had me by the hair, and I felt like he was just wailing on me, but in a really sloppy way, like hitting the back of my head, and kind of wrestled me down to the floor. I mean, it felt to me like I didn't even have a fair shot, because I wasn't facing him or looking at him. I was walking away from him. Or else, I would have at this point even I would have tried to defend myself more, but I didn't. I kind of felt like it didn't see it coming, and he just wrestled me down to the ground. And I remember he was screaming at me. I mean, like really screaming loud.
The cake lady tipped $2. Don't forget about her hair appointment. Get a buzz cut, it suits you.
And him kind of wrestling me back down, and at one point put his knee on my back.
I agree. This one
kinda like lying on
sounds
my back.
more legit than others. Also,
And I
because
just
she's
had
not
this, like-
stuttering and between every other thing.
Struggle with him. And I look at him and he's still got his glasses on. I just remember looking at him and thinking that was so... I mean, he just looked like he hadn't been through anything, you know? He still had his glasses on, sunglasses. And he was screaming at me that he hated me.
He had his glasses.
That it was over. He didn't want to marry me. He was disgusted. He was disgusted. He made this mistake. It was a big mistake. And everyone hated me.
Some say to this day, he's still wearing those
I
sunglasses.
remember crying on the floor. Just, more than anything, I was heartbroken. I thought maybe he was serious. I thought maybe, God, he doesn't love me. Maybe he really feels this way. It broke my heart. Broke my heart. I wanted to marry him so bad. This is the man I loved, you know. Yes, it was awful at times, but I loved him and what he was
Objection, Your
saying.
Honor, non-responsive.
Overruled. What he was saying to me hurt just as bad as anything else. I just remember that
savage.
He left me on the
objection, Your Honor, irrelevant.
And it's embarrassing.
That would be so much more savage versus like objection relevancy question mark. It's like
Isn't
irrelevant. Period.
I went up to him at some point. I don't know how much time had passed. He was sitting at the piano in the living room of the hotel room that we had.
Oh, you're so cute.
It's so... I know it may be hard to understand.
Why would it be hard to
Hard for me to
understand?
hear myself say, but I felt... I just wanted it to stop.
Like, it sounds like she's running a marathon, but instead, like, tears should just...
And I just sat next to him on the piano, and
I'm so confused.
just leaned my head on his shoulder, and it was, of course I was mad, and felt it was horrible what he'd done. But on the other hand, I wanted us to be okay.
This sounds like a book.
Could just put this other, I could put
Wow.
the physical stuff in a box, and I just kept going back on how much I love this person. So just...
Holy shit.
When they come on and went to the premiere with him and walked the red carpet with him, and I remember in the car checking my phone obsessively for pictures because my dress was backless. Of all times to have a backless dress. And then I was just looking at pictures and I was on the red carpet. It was surreal because of just
Bunkerbox Gaming
checking
tipped
for bruises and making
$2.
sure that
She is
nothing,
acting.
like there would be no
Literally.
marks on me, and we just looked like this other thing on this red carpet when it was just... It was not like that.
I don't get it.
It's embarrassing.
A tear! Oh!
I'm sure it's hard to...
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
I'm going to take you to February, the next month, 2015, to your wedding.
Okay, I believe there was
Can you please tell the jury about your
tussling.
wedding?
Whoa. Probably on both sides, though. She ripped off his finger.
So we get married in Los Angeles.
I don't know what to think anymore.
I get a sense
Shiny
that...
Gengar _
He
tipped
smirked, he
$2. What is ulting? Also, how
We were
can
just-
you
it
trust
was
actors
just
in
a
court?
wedding, running around Los Angeles. I was getting married that day, and I remember running around I went to therapy and, got ready, and Johnny and I met at the Penthouses downtown, and I wore a white dress and a veil had bobby pinned in my hair. And I walked out of that penthouse. I met with Johnny in the hallway, and
Snacker 66 tipped $4.20.
handsome.
Dono for tears.
And he seemed happy. And
Shrekinin tipped $2. She pushed so hard for that tear.
we were making the right decision. I was so looking forward to
Punish tipped $2. Depp's acting is better than Herd's and he's not even speaking. She's laying it on too thick, which makes it unbelievable.
We get in the car, we get into actually Johnny's car, and for the second time since I've known Johnny, he drove drove us in his truck. It was weird being in the car with him alone. We didn't have that. And we drove to his mom's house, and a justice of the peace arrived, looking kind of surprised. And she married us in the living room of his mother's house, Betty Sue, with our families together. My best friend, my mom, his mom. We ate food with the kids. They were there.
Someone said Teen
and
Choice Award.
We had a wonderful evening. And then got up and got on the plane either the next morning or the day after, and flew to Johnny's Island. And we had
Tango tipped $2.
Married in living
One
room,
thing
fly
is
to
for sure,
island.
She isn't getting any acting gigs after this performance.
So maybe 8 months
That's actually probably
for this 3-day wedding on his island with our close friends, about 12 people, maybe 15 people. And we had these little houses built, like not tents, but not houses, these little, for the guests. We had them built and designed on the island, and we had people come out, and it was magic.
Spankle butt
I
tipped
was marrying
$2. Tier, 1 poo on bed.
the love of my
1.
life. It was complicated. But
MS Brittles
I
tipped
thought
$2. She
it
was
was all of my
literally
life.
quoting books and movies
And
yesterday.
we
No,
had our friends
that
and family
was
out, and
proven
we
to
had
be
this
false.
3-day event. The first night of which was supposed to be he and I separate with our relative parties. So me with the bridal party and him with his fellas. The bridal party, we had planned to do a cuddle puddle, have mushrooms and drink wine, and have our own girl party separate, and then the next day have the wedding festivities. We were going to be married around sunset, and on this beach.
I don't know what a
not
cuddle
the
puddle is.
beach that Johnny had named for
If
me.
anyone knows,
Although
do let
I
us
think
know.
we originally planned on having the ceremony on that beach, but it was changed at some point to the other beach, and we walked down the aisle, the beach aisle, and
Maybe it's just like where everybody
said our
cuddles
vows
together.
and
But
the sunset
all the
behind
things
us,
he has
and we took
described,
pictures
I
with
don't
our
think he'd
family,
be
and
down for a cuddle
we
puddle.
shot the bird, meaning the
Right?
middle finger, up at the
If he's so
paparazzi helicopter
possessive,
circling, or plane circling
why would he be
around
okay with a cuddle
us
puddle?
while we were on the altar. And we danced and celebrated. And then I left the island because I had to go work.
When you say you left the island, you had to go to work, what were you working on that required that?
I was filming The Danish Girl in London, which is the film that I had been in London for in January when Johnny was hallucinating on the phone with me. I was there doing kind of prep work for that film.
And what, if any, film was Mr. Depp going to at that point?
Well, the plan, why we did the wedding when we did it, is because he had always had this commitment to do Pirates 5. And he was going to shoot that in Australia, and I was going to shoot the Danish girl. And I started the Danish girl in early February, and he was going to fly out mid-February to Australia. So his movie was going to take the majority of the year, meaning until August. So
terrible.
Maybe
you must
longer,
be
so that the
apart
plan was
for
to
like
do
the
it when we
majority
did
of
it, so that
the
we didn't
year.
have to wait until the fall of the following year.
So intense. What a roller coaster.
Shortly after I left,
better
Johnny
to
returned to Los Angeles.
date a normie and then just bring
flew
him
from
around
Los
with you
Angeles
everywhere.
onto
Sounds like an actual fun
Australia
relationship.
to shoot P5, Pirates 5, excuse me.
Okay. And what was the
Honestly,
plan,
it's very similar with streamers dating streamers.
for you when you finished with Danish Girl?
The plan was always for me to wrap on my movie and then come and join him in Australia, where he was filming P5, Pirates 5.
Okay, and when approximately was that?
That was March 3rd.
March 3rd that you wrapped, that you finished with Danish Girl?
I believe, I can't recall the exact date, but I believe it was around that time, yes.
Okay, and
Would you
then
poop on my bed for $100?
tell the jury, where did you fly to get to Australia? How long of a terminal was it for you to get to Australia?
Not even 100,000.
It was about 24 hours.
Not even 100,000.
I think it's about 24 hours.
Someone said
I could be
200?
mistaken on the exact amount of time, but I remember it's quite a distance from London. I was filming in London, he was filming in Australia. Effectively, you have to fly 12 hours, stop,
100,000
get on a different plane and fly, I think, around the same amount of time, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry, why do we care?
So when you arrived, before you finished wrapping with Danish Girl and were heading out shortly before, what, if any, communications did you and Mr. Depp have?
Well, at first it was great. Even though we were separated, it was so hard.
Legend $5. Cheered.
It
Isn't
was
it
so
hypocritical
hard
how she
to leave. Leave right after you get married. Especially considering that in Johnny and I's relationship, it was always so much worse when I went away to work. It just, that's when problems started. So that was hard, but we communicated pretty consistently, and it was positive until it started to change.
Shrekin tipped $2.
I
She
got
is
the sense that he
switching
thought
around
I
her emotions so
was
fast.
sleeping
Super
with
serious.
the director, and then it was with the actor I was filming with.
Who was the actor you were filming with?
Eddie Redmayne.
Okay.
I was not that it mattered, but I could do my best to field the accusations, and then they would kind of subside, and I thought things were okay. And one day, right before I'm supposed to fly to Australia, he, I think it was the night before I was supposed to leave to go to Australia, he calls my hotel room, apparently. I had a sense that the phone was ringing. I think I was in the shower at the time, but not much time had passed, and I get a knock on the door, and it was someone from the hotel that I was staying at. The hotel staff had been sent up to the room because
Objection calls for hearsay and speculation.
Sustain the objection.
So don't tell what the staff said. What happened next?
Then I start communicating with Johnny.
And when you say started, I mean, was he on the phone? Did you call him? What happened here?
He called the room and then my cell phone, and then once I was on the cell phone, he was accusing me of not being in my room, so he called the room, and I had to prove that I was in the room because by answering the phone. And we had a lengthy kind of circular conversation about where I was and why I didn't answer the phone. Why I didn't answer the phone immediately. He didn't sound like he was connected to reality. It just didn't seem like,
200 bits.
to me,
Thanks for being
it seemed
you.
like a previous pattern. I was unsure what to make of it because he wasn't right in front of me, but he was accusing me of what it seemed like is having, I guess, an affair or a reason to not be in the room that I got a sense from him was, cheating or that I was hiding something and why I wasn't answering the phone, and hence why I got the knock on the door.
Girl, maybe it's because whenever you talk, you sound sus as hell.
That was right before I left.
So before you headed to Australia, what, if any, requests did you make of Mr. Depp for him to get you MDMA?
I clicked zero,
that's
tipped
ridiculous.
$5. Pokimane.
Why is that ridiculous?
Because I would never, since that time I learned my lesson the hard way on the plane to Russia, I would never do MDMA with him. I'm asking for a problem in that case. Like that, I would never do that.
Okay. So you flew to Australia.
I just want you guys to imagine the things she says, but just said differently. Instead of, I would never, after what happened on the plane from Russia, I would never do MDMA with him again. As opposed to, why did you run? Because it's clear that after what happened on the plane on our way to Russia, why would I ever do MDMA with him again? We would likely have an argument or have an issue, so I didn't want to do that. It's just...
And
it's like distracting, if
Mr.
anything.
Depp, right? And I'm going to, can we pull up defendants 1809?
I'm not even saying that what she's
These are some of
saying
the pictures that
is wrong.
Mr.
Like,
King,
she's just stating why she was
testifying
Mark
earlier,
Plenty
that he had on his
streams
phone,
cheered 200
and then those
bits.
were given.
Hope
So
you have a good day, homie.
So I don't
XQCL.
have these, is what you're saying. Okay, that's fine. 1809.
I would
I'm just going to show you a few pictures. Amber, do you recognize?
MDMA is
And I
a
realize
drug.
you didn't take this photo. I'm going to move the admission of it, though, Your Honor.
Any objection to 1809?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, 1809 in evidence, you can publish.
And let me pass one up and give one to the other side. We tried to, given the strangeness of this.
Pokey, first you wanted tears and now you want her to be calm. Which is it?
Yes.
It depends on the
I
situation.
appreciate it.
If someone asks you, hey, why didn't you want to do drugs with your partner again?
Amber, do you recognize this
Well, because
photo?
last time when we did it, it went terrible.
And could you tell the jury
But then
what
if
this
you're
is?
talking about a very sad moment,
That is the
and you sound
driveway
like
leading
you're
up to the
crying, then
house
there should be
that
tears.
Johnny was renting while shooting
depends on the
Pirates 5.
situation.
Okay. And then I'm going to try to make this a little faster, and I'm going to go
Oh my God, I gotta go soon, but I want to see this piece of evidence.
10.
I want to see this
Ms.
piece
Berthoff, do you have
evidence.
a series of photos? If you want to
Yes.
show council what
I
they
need to
are,
see
maybe we
this.
can get them entered all together, and then you could just
Yes,
go on with your questions.
yes, in fact. And these are all, I will represent, ones that we got from Mr. King.
All right, if you want to take a look at them.
And Your Honor, if I may just approach, I'll give you the whole stack.
Okay,
too.
that's
That
fine. Do any of them?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
But make sure you look through them all, too. I just want to make sure, because
Thank
I'll
you.
go ahead and read them into the record once you have looked through them all. And then
Thank you, Your Honor. I've reviewed them. I have
Out
no
of
objection
everything
to
you're
any
gonna
of these
drink?
photos.
so we'll enter into evidence.
What in the world is
defendants
that?
1804, 1805, 1806,
She got that
1807,
burp. Stop.
1808,
I can't.
1810, 1811, 1812, 1814, 1815, 1816, 1817,
Okay.
1819,
Show him, show him.
1820,
Okay.
1821,
1822, 25, 1826, 7, 1828,
1829, 1830,
1831, 30,
1831, 1834,
1835,
1837,
7,
1838, 1839, 1840, 1841, and 1842. Did I get them all?
I'm so good.
I believe so.
I'm psychic, bro.
I want to make sure
I just
more than
knew.
believe so. We agree that's all in evidence? Okay. They're all in evidence. So as long as you're just going to be referencing those photos, we'll keep it on before you publish them.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it. Okay. Whose home was this in Australia?
It was a.
If you're gonna show me photos of a messy place, I don't give a fuck.
Sportsman, racing cars or something of that nature.
Okay. Let's Michelle, if you can pull up 1810.
She was listing all the years the U.S. was at war.
Is this another picture from that home?
Where is it? Where is it? Is it on the other stream?
Yes, that looks like it's the view from the bathroom.
Okay. And then let's go, Michelle, if you can pull up 1811.
Or something of that.
Is that a picture of the home?
That's the house, yes.
Okay. And let's go to 1812. And that's...
Congrats on your beautiful home.
The living room. It opened into a lagoon.
Okay. And then...
I mean, that was a nice photo.
1813.
I gotta go, guys. I can't sit here and play real estate agent for Amber Heard. I can't sit here and do celebrity house tour. This ain't Architectural Digest.
Over of the swimming pool, correct?
I have a hair appointment to go to.
And then let's do one more, 1814.
I will keep following on my phone, though.
This is inside the house.
And the next time that this is on, which I'm guessing is Monday.
If you can look to the back here.
I'll try to
where
clear
I've
my
got I'm
schedule
making
so I can be here
What,
on
if anything,
Monday.
is that back there?
That's the kitchen.
Wait, is it on Monday or is it back on
This is
Tuesday?
in the main level.
What we're looking at
Oh, they
is
skip a week.
The dining room table on the main level.
Okay.
With the kitchen in the background.
Then never mind. Aww.
Thank you.
Sad.
Now, I'm going to ask you to
Sad.
take this jury through your experience, what happened in Australia
I guess we'll
once
play
you
video
arrived
games
there.
or something. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love watching this with you. It genuinely is such a great, great, great time. I hope you guys enjoyed. And just know, when I say I'm going to wake up and show up at 7:30 a.m., bitch, I mean that shit. I would never leave you guys hanging. Almost never. It's like it's like tilde never. Because, I can't really, what if I died or something? Then maybe. But, I'm going to be here. Lovers, thank you so much. I'll see you guys very soon. I don't know if I'm streaming tomorrow. I might chill since I didn't sleep as much tonight. But whatever, I'll be on sometime this weekend, and we'll have a great time. Also, go check out Cutie's girl trip. She's doing a girls trip. Looks really great. Maybe I'll be able to swing by. I don't know. But yeah, go support them. Okay, love you guys. Bye, 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 bye.